we have panel discussions on the current happenings in the HR domain. In 2019, HRidaya 4.0 witnessed an invigorating participation from students and corporate world. The theme was Strategic HRM, Aligning It Right. This year, as we all know, change is the only constant, and keeping in mind the situations that we've been seeing in the past 5 to 6 months due to COVID and the relevance of the topic change in today's times as well as in future, our theme for the 5th edition in 2020 is change management. This year is different from previous years also in ways that it's online this year with panel discussions and student interactions planned over today and tomorrow. We have also been joined by students from other B schools and students from Geetham University. So definitely the learning experience is going to be different this year. Today's panel discussions would be on the topic towards a new HR philosophy. Do the changing times mandate a changing role for the HR? To guide you through the schedule for the day, we'll start with the inaugural address by the Director of IIM Visakhapatnam, Professor M. Chandrasekhar. It will be followed by an introduction to our esteemed panel members. Post that, we'll have a keynote speech and then we'll proceed with the panel discussions. We'll open the floor for Q&A session after the panel discussion for the students. Moving on, we'll now be joined by our Director of IIM Visakhapatnam in few minutes for the inaugural address. And post that, we'll start with the event. And I would like to mention here that Professor Chandrasekhar has been a source of constant support and a mentor for the entire student community at IIM Visakhapatnam. And we as students have a lot to learn from him. We'll wait for a short time for the director to join.
Many other companies, we can assume that the valuation.
I would request candidates to please mute themselves. If we speak about, meanwhile, we feel the change management, why do we relevant topic for us? It's a relevant topic for us today since we've seen so many changes going on. Like the HRs were the first people who had to adapt to all the changes that occurred due to the emergency situation during the COVID times, because they had to frame the policies and all for the event. I would request Professor Anupama Sharma if she would like to share a few words about the topic.
So good morning, everyone. Very nice to see all of you in full strength, first of all. And yeah, this is for the first time that we all seeing, such kind of events happening online. I guess this will be another, totally different kind of experience for both of us. I remember last time and last year, when I joined, actually, we had this, function in our institute itself, in the area where our mess is. And for the second time, we moved to this, hotel because the batch strength increased and we needed more, space to host such kind of event. So I am feeling really a little bit nostalgic about this event, because all the time since I have joined the institute students have been approaching to become moderator or to guide them. and I have also learned a lot with the students while they are hosting the event and organizing this whole event, because this whole thing is very student driven. So generally faculty members or anyone from the institute do not interfere in any kind of thing. We generally do guide and just do some hand holding stuff. Now also, I first of all I need to congratulate the whole HRidaya team, that they are organizing it in such professional manner, in such organized manner. And the panel members also, although we are 1 hour away from having the panel discussion, but I was really amazed, and I again need to compliment the whole HRidaya team, the way they have chosen the panel members. I mean, it's a very diverse group of panel members, and I'm sure that we are going to have very enriching discussion. So I think maybe we will hold the discussion for after 1 hour only. But what I wanted to say is that I just want to tell you that what are the topics we are going to discuss. Maybe there are lots of things are changing, okay, but since we are actually hosting HRidaya event which is related to HR, so our scope is going to be, our questions are going to be going to revolve around the changing role of HR. So that can how, of course, over the time, if you have noticed, HR earlier used to play a role of compliance manager or maybe just a simple administrator. Over the time, the HR has evolved itself, and now it has become a proper separate vertical in the business, right, in the organization. Now we have one chair in the boardroom. So HR has evolved over the time. And again, this corona situation has posed a lot of challenges in front of HR, because end of the day we are dealing with people. End of the day, be it AI or machine learning, or be it any retail sector or manufacturing sector, it's people who are driving the business. So, and HR people are the ones who are responsible for getting through this whole tough time and difficult times. So how they are playing the role of enabler, how they are actually uh, transcending their role as HR managers. So that is what we are going to discuss. We will also touch upon that how, as MBA student, you can do. I mean, of course, you are not in the organizations out there in the field, but what you can learn, what are the things that are in your control while you are here, while you are just a student. Are there some specific skills, competencies, some qualities that you need to develop? So maybe we will listen from the panel members on these things, that what you can do while you are here, right? And what I would request you to, when panel discussion is going on, you can raise your hand. I don't deprive, earlier this suggestion was given to me that maybe ma'am, the students can write their questions in the chat box. But I am of the opinion that, first of all, since we have just 1.5 hours for this panel discussion and to discuss, to interact with panel members, I may miss some questions, and I don't want to deprive anyone, just on the merit, because merit or dismerit of the question is a very subjective thing, right? So you please raise the hand while the discussion is over. And maybe on the random basis, I will pick up the anyone, and yeah, for half an hour we will be just handling the question and answers. I mean, the panel panelists will be answering your questions, right? Do you have anything to say over here, or any doubts, anyone?
Guys, can you hear me? Can someone confirm?
Yes, sir, we can.
I think Director Sir is here.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Hello, hi. I'm good. How are you?
All good, ma'am. So far, so good.
Yeah, everyone in the same boat. Yeah.
So we'll start at 10:30, right?
Yes, so we'll have an inaugural address by our director, and we'll start with the.
Okay, fine.
I would now request Professor M. Chandrasekhar for the inaugural address of for the event.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Hello. You know, it's nice to see so many faces on the screen, live, smiling, very lively. Yeah. Let me start with a word of welcome to all our students, particularly Club Manthan, the HR club, which has kind of put together this fantastic event. And my congratulations to the Manthan Club, HR Club, for getting such a galaxy of good speakers who are going to share their experiences. And I must also thank the panelists per se, because these days, given the pressures on one's work, on one's own time, it's not easy to join a session like this on a weekend, on a Saturday. But in spite of that, if the panelists have kind of honored our request and are here today to share their experiences, we do owe them a special thanks, a special word of gratitude. uh, I see here today among the panelists are Captain Pranav Prasoon, Aditya Adaya, Dr. Ankita Singh, Jyoti Singh, Yashwant Chauhan, Vipra Babar, Sudipto Mondal. So I would like to welcome all our esteemed guests. I would like to thank them personally on behalf of the student club, on behalf of the entire student community, on behalf of my faculty colleagues, Vishakha and Anupama, who are there, and also on behalf of the entire institute at large. I would like to thank you, and I do look forward to really, very exciting deliberations over these 2 days. And I'm sure they're going to be great takeaways for our students. Well, friends, coming to the theme of the conference, which is change management, a very apt, it's a very timely one, as we would all agree, given the fact that we are all going through very tough times. And, recalling a very, a very pertinent quotation in this context from Peter Drucker, who said that the greatest danger in the times of turbulence is not the turbulence, it is to act with yesterday's logic. So what we need to do is to kind of reinvent our processes and how we go forward if we have to tackle these unprecedented times. And I'm sure when we are going to discuss this subject, our panelists who have been invited today, I was looking at their profile. They have very impressive academic credentials. They are in leadership positions in the HR domain. And some of the panelists I notice are very young achievers. They have reached the top at a very young age. So kudos to them, compliments to them, and they have won many awards. So again, it's really the right kind of the panelist team that the club has chosen. And I must compliment our young student colleagues who have put together such a power-packed team for us to, have deliberations with. I've also noticed that this year we have many students from other B schools as well joining us. I would extend kind of a word of welcome to them as well. And I see that the team has planned case study competitions and quiz competitions. And I do wish all the participants who are going to take part in those competitions the very best of luck, and may the very best and the very deserving win those competitions and events. Uh, I would also like kind of to thank Anupama and Vishakha. They have been veterans at this kind of comparing and moderating because they have been there earlier as well. They bring together, the rich bouquet of experience, both from the work life as well as from the academia. And both of them are, as all of you know, are from very distinguished schools of management. So it's a very, I would say, a fitting combination, a very befitting, moderating role that they are going to hold here. The topic for today, as I see, is towards a new HR philosophy. Do the changing times mandate a changing role for the HR? Let me speak a little bit about that, and then perhaps in the next, I think, about 10 minutes or so that I have. Before that, I would, since the panelists are there, perhaps engaging with the institution in this formal way for the first time, and because there could be students from the other institutions as well, as the head of the institution, I would like to say that an academic institution is always known by the credentials of its faculty and the learning outcomes that the students bring to the table. And on both fronts, the institute has, when I mean the institute, IIM Visakhapatnam has done exceedingly well and has been able to make a mark. And we have been able to attract very highly talented faculty from some of the best schools, business schools in India and abroad. And as I said, they bring with them a rich combination, a rich mix of experience, both from the industry and the academia. And Anupama and Vishakha are two good examples who are going to be here moderating the session. Now, as far as the student community is concerned, the Institute has been able to successfully kind of handhold and nurture, creative, competent and confident millennials. And they have the teams earlier, the student cohorts earlier have proved themselves to be managers of mettle. And our students are imbued, I'm proud to say, with shared values, social responsibility, etc. And year on year, I must add here a word of compliment for the PGP2 here, who have excelled in so many competitions. I see Ruxar here. She is, well, every second day she wins some prize or the other, and I see it on LinkedIn. Barnisha, and so many of you. In the short time I may not remember other names, but all of you have done us proud. Because when you go pan-India and you win competitions, we kind of levitate 5 feet above the ground because of your achievements. So such is the pride, and you have done us a great job. And I do wish all of you, going forward, the same kind of success in your work careers as well. So coming back, the graduation outcomes of our past student cohorts has also been so impressive. Today, their talents are of great use to the institutions they are working for. And once in a while, when we engage with recruiters with whom the students are there, I engage personally. I hear very, very positive the feedback is extremely encouraging that our students are performing very well and that they are effectively contributing to the growth of organizations. To kind of say, put it in, to conclude about the Visakhapatnam, IIM Visakhapatnam part, I would say that this is the edition 5 of HRidaya, and we are considered among among the 20 IIMs. I'm proud to say, and you should feel proud that we keep tracking many on our performance on many parameters, because every institution files an MOU with the MHRD, the Ministry of Education, and we keep tracking our performance, how well we are doing vis-a-vis competition. And we have already crossed all the 7 new IIMs of whom we are a part. We have actually at maybe 10th or 9th position on many parameters. So maybe in a couple of years, we will be in the top 5. And I have absolutely no doubt about it, given the kind of cohort that we have, the PGP1s who have joined us, the PGP2s who have joined us. I'm sure these cohorts will take us into the top 5 league in the very kind of a very very short frame of time. So I would only like to say that in Mahabharata there is a famous quotation that what is here may be found elsewhere, but what is not here is nowhere else. Which means that if there is going to be anything, it will be in IIM Visakhapatnam, and if it is not going to be in IIM Visakhapatnam, you will not find it anywhere else. That's the kind of next practices we would like to build here. And our student cohort, I would say, is contributing extremely well to that endeavor. Coming to the the topic per se, let me add a few sentences. The famous Charles Kettering, who is the famous American inventor, who was in General Motors, head of research, etc., who gave us the leaded gasoline and Freon refrigerant and all those. He said, the world hates change, but it is the only one thing that has brought progress to human endeavor. So what he meant was, for example, the role of CMD, if you call, older CMD definition is chairman and managing director. But today the role of a CMD is actually to create, maintain, and delight customers. Today, the definition of a CEO is a chief enabling officer. Today, the definition of a CHRO is a chief human relations officer. So more of engaging, more of encouraging, more of equipping, more of enriching, and more of empowering. So that's the role of HR today, kind of moving along the employees, lifting them to kind of raise their performance, etc., particularly in times of difficult times, unusual times like the current pandemic. In Microsoft today, if all of you have seen the news, Microsoft today, headlines flashed across, Microsoft to let employees work from home permanently. That is what it says. And to quote the chief people officer, I just quote, the COVID-19 pandemic has challenged all of us to think, live, and work in new ways. Microsoft's chief people officer, Kathleen Hogan, said in a note to employees, we will offer as much flexibility as possible to support individual work styles while balancing business needs and ensuring we live our culture. That is what she said. So organizations are kind of rejuggling their HR practices to, as I said, to increasingly empower their employees. And 5 key things which I find redefine the current HR practices. When I look around, when I talk to people, when I talk to organizations, the first one is trust. If all of you are remote today, for example, Microsoft, I believe, has 163,000 employees, about 96 of them working in US. So unless there is an element of trust between the employer and employee, work cannot happen remotely. If I give you an assignment, I trust that you will do it, and that you will do it in the legal ethical means, that you will do it within the timelines given and the cost parameters given. So trust is going to be a huge building block in these times of pandemic. The second one is time management. Sitting at home, if we are working at home, there's a lot of flexibility how we juggle with our time. So in fact, Airbus industry has a theme called balance for business. How you kind of juggle, the initiative for ways to improve your work-life balance so that you remain effective, and also balance your personal lives as well. The third one is technology. All of us today are familiar with Google Meet and WebEx and Microsoft Team and Zoom and all that, which we haven't even heard of or used perhaps before this pandemic had struck us. The next one is Teams. If I were to discuss as the head of the institution, I would call maybe 4 or 5 activity chairs or the program chairs to my room, chamber, and discuss. But today I am able to discuss, for example, 230 participants I see here. We are able to discuss, talk to, address at the same time 230 students and stakeholders. This is a very important element in terms of messaging. If organizations have to message, they have large, in fact, the entire family of the organization is there for the top executive or the HR executive to address. So this is another big change. There's not going to be any communication gap because there are no hierarchies here. What I am saying, 230 right now are able to listen and kind of take forward the message. The next one is the final one I would say is, the transformation part. Our honorable PM always says that perform, reform, transform. So when we speak about transformation, every single individual in the organization today, given the openness of organizations, they must know what we are doing, why we are doing, when we are doing, and how we are doing. So this is a powerful mechanism of bringing in the buy-in for the transformation to happen. So we need to perform with a purpose, reform with a resolve, and transform with thoroughness. So these are the times, these are opportunities for us to kind of reinvent ourselves. And let me, before maybe a minute or two I have, this reminds me of, Batopile. There is an initiative by the government of South Africa brought about in 1997 by the Bharat Ratna and Nobel laureate Nelson Mandela. He brought forward an initiative called Batopile. Batopile means people first. And he said, if we have to bring, and he is talking about the context of good governance, which actually applies even to the organization. When he was talking about Bato Pile, he laid down 8 principles. And those 8 principles, I feel, are relevant in a context like this. What are these? He said, consult extensively on what you're trying to do. 2, he said, set service standards. When people are working remotely like this, there has to be predictability, there has to be precision, there has to be consistency, there has to be accuracy. If a piece of work is given to an individual, that has to be accomplished with all these characteristics. The third one is access. Remain access to your cohort, remain accessible to your stakeholders. The fourth one he said is courtesy, particularly when you're dealing with people who are remotely located, you haven't met them at all, then you obviously have to show a lot of respect, dignity, and friendliness, because you are establishing contact virtually and trying to engage them in a meaningful way virtually. Then information sharing. As I said, organizations have to share information on why, how, what, and when they're going to do a particular kind of an endeavor. And grievance redress. If any student or if any kind of a member of a family of the organization has any grievance, first of all, Bato Pile says apologize if something has gone wrong. 2, immediately try to fix it so that it doesn't happen again. The next one he says, 7th principle is openness and transparency. And the last one he says is value for many. Whatever we do, as for example, as an HR functionary, we do something. HR is not a revenue generator per se, not a direct revenue generator. The HR is not producing on the shop floor anything or marketing or selling anything, but HR is an enabler. So the HR has to kind of provide the value for, not only value for the money, that is the investment made in HR, but the value has to be for many people. That is across the organization, people must find the difference. Let me conclude by saying that today organizations look at what we call as inspiring employee devotion and not defection. The principles that the organizations are guided by, and HR, what is HR driving today? What is it that our employees really expect from us, and why? Why is each individual a different employee, a unique employee? What do our employees really see us as? Which employees are our most valuable ones, and why? Which prospects would we like the most to convert as employees? And if we recall, Vineet Nair, the ex-CEO of HCL Technologies, in his book called Employees First, Customers Second, he said, take care of the employees, the business will take care of itself. Employees are quick to complain and slow to forgive, so be careful about them. Is there an institutionalized process of obtaining employee feedback? And it is much more easier in a scenario like this because everyone is online. Is there an IT-enabled grievance redress mechanism? Are employee exits treated as case studies to identify opportunities for systemic improvements? And finally, when we speak about predictability, trust, confidence, building, delivering with accuracy, precision, etc., is there an SLA with employees that gives them freedom and flexibility with accountability and answerability for results? So this is what I thought in a changing HR dynamic is important. And I'll conclude by saying that Hridaya, the word Hridaya, if you look at HRidaya, it actually rhymes with HR idea. So I look at this as a platform for idea generation. And it's a gathering of great minds. I once again thank the panelists who have come together, who have agreed to spend their valuable Saturday with our student cohort. It's going to be a colloquium of collective wisdom. It's going to be a power-packed congregation for deliberating on issues of common interest and converging focus. And I do look forward to this forum being a very, very inspiring learning opportunity for our students, a very, very fruitful experience sharing platform, a very meaningful knowledge exchange forum, a very conducive space for constructive idea generation, and finally, a very ideal stage for dissemination of best practices in the industry today. So our student cohort is going to are the beneficiaries of this, and I'm sure the panelists, when they speak, our student cohort is going to take these, the insights, ideas that the panelists are going to share very, very seriously. And this is going to stand them in great stead as they step into the future, employment careers very shortly. Thank you, HR Club. Thank you, Manthan, for giving me this opportunity. Wonderful seeing all of you virtually, though. Once again, thank all the panelists. Over to the team.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words, and thank you for joining us today. We'll now proceed with the introduction to our panel members. So today, today we'll have 7 panel members for the discussion. We have the first one is Dr. Ankita Singh. She's the Senior Vice President and Global Head of HR and other enabling functions at Signex Datamatics. Dr. Ankita has over 19 years of progressive experience in managing and leading various aspects of human resources, spanning across high-paced business domains of ITES. She has numerous awards in her name, and she was, I would like to name a few of them. She was awarded the Forbes India's Top 100 Great People Manager by the study conducted by GMI India. She's also been amongst the CHRO of the year 2020, 2019, 2018, and 2017. She has also been awarded with Most Influential Corporate Personality of 2019. Moving on to our next panel member, we have Aditya Adaya. He's the head of human resource function at Pyramid Reality. Sir has an experience across employee relations, talent acquisition and talent management, succession planning, change management, business HR, learning and development, organization development in sectors such as banking, retail, QSR, food and beverages, and real estate. He was the Chief People Officer at Fasus and has led HR teams at ICICI Bank. In his current role, Sir has worked extensively on the talent and capability building. He was featured and quoted in Economic Times, Business Standard, Times of India, and Business Today. He also featured in Are You in the List 2016, a platform by People Matters, which identifies high potential HR leaders across the country. Our next panel member is Ms. Vipra Babar. She's the head of human resources for Miro India. In her career of 8+ years, Ms. Babar has had incredible achievements to her name. She's worked with organizations like Symphony Teleca, Tesco, Offit Technologies, Columbia Asia Hospital, and Massimo. She's an adept at handling the entire gamut of HR functions, including setting up policies, HR strategy, talent acquisition, talent management, career mapping, and performance management. She has led recruitment and HR operations for the APAC region for 5 years during her association with Massimo. Our next speaker is Mr. Yashwant Chauhan. He's Senior Manager, Corporate HR Policy and Employee Relations at Gale India Limited. Gale is the youngest Maharatna CPSE under the aegis of Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. Sir has a corporate experience of 11+ years in Gale India Limited and Gale, a diverse group in business domain of natural gas, LPG, petrochemicals, ENP, CGD, solar or wind, etc. And business projects experience in BFSI, oil and gas, FMCG, manufacturing, pharma and biotechnology sectors. He has been invited as a speaker to prestigious platforms like Standing Conference of Public Enterprise, Directors Summit of Oil and Gas CPSE, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai, and is a sustainability enthusiast. He has been amongst the India's top 100 under 40 future HR leaders. Our next panel member is Ms. Jyoti Singh. Ms. Jyoti Singh is the HR head at Data Foundry AI, And she is an HR leader with extensive experience in developing and executing HR strategy for building high-performance organizations across geographies. She's passionate about driving business priorities and leading large-scale transformational changes by enabling it through simple and effective HR strategy. In the span of her experience, ma'am has partnered with multiple business heads and spearheaded initiatives to improve people and processes effectively, from pioneering leadership development interventions to developing succession planning methodologies. She has also been an integral member of the diversity and the anti-harassment cell in her organizations. Our next speaker for today is Mr. Sudipto Mandal. Sir is the Vice President and CHRO at Star Cement Limited. Sir has a rich cross-industry experience of over 21 years across manufacturing, IT, FMCG, and retail. He has handled the entire gamut of core functional HR and techno-functional HRMS in his roles in the industry. He has worked with Everready Industries India Limited, Oracle, BEA Systems, Asian Paints Limited, Spencer's Retail Limited, and Chrysil. His areas of expertise include HR strategy, change management, talent management and acquisition, performance management, HR policies formulation and implementation, and HR operations, to name a few. He's a certified coach and certified trainer on customer service management. Next, I would like to introduce our moderator for the session. We have Professor Anupama Sharma with us. She's the Assistant Professor in Organizational Behavior and Human Resource Management at IIM Visakhapatnam. She's presented her research work in various national and international conferences of repute such as AOM, CMS, EUARM, and IIM Ahmedabad Doctoral Colloquium, etc. Her research paper won the Best Paper Award at the Indian Academy of Management Conference in December 2015. She's one of the 4 recipients across the world to get a bursary award at the Critical Management Studies Conference held in June 2017 at Liverpool, United Kingdom. She serves as a reviewer for several journals in OB and HRM. She's actively involved in designing and executing training programs for employees of organizations such as Hindustan Shipyard Limited, DRDO, etc. I would now like to present our 7th panel member, Captain Pranav Prasoon, who is the Head of Human Resources at Renault India Private Limited. Sir is an ex-Indian Army officer with commendable experience in managing the entire gamut of leadership and human resource management, talent development, change management, and operations management. He's an alumnus of IIM Lucknow, has over 15 years of experience in human resource management and development, and hands-on experience in project management. Sir is the author and publisher of a novel, Those Unknown. And Sir is also the keynote speaker for today's event. I would now request Captain Pranav Prasoon to please address the students.
Am I audible now? So a warm good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is ultimate honor and privilege that I'm amongst you. And what a good bunch of colleagues from the industry which we have today. So of course I know it will be quite an interesting day and start of the day for all of us. As Director Sir was mentioning, I want to take it from there. Rather, I feel no more HR is a enabler today. It is a crusader in the times which we are going through. And if Sir allows me, I am in between. I'm not too young and not too old too, but I want to, because when I mention this word crusader, I have to speak something which is heavy, and I don't know. I don't remember who was the writer. Either it was someone, either Sahir Ludhianavi or Kaifi Ajmi, once upon a time when I read it when I was in school, and it's something, it says like this: Aaj agar khamosh rahe to kal sannata chhayega, har gali mein aag lagegi, har basti जल जाएगी, सन्नाटे के पीछे से तब एक आवाज सी आएगी, कोई नहीं है, कोई नहीं है, कोई नहीं है, कोई नहीं. In this scenario, it is a responsibility for any HR leader, for that matter, if I have to tell you today. And the first thing is we have to talk, and that we are doing today. And in this initiative, what most of the academia and educational institutions are doing, where corporate has to come forward and be with you all people hands in hands and tell that things would be fine very soon. So this is, with this as a premise, if I have to speak a little bit on and do the context setting today. So I'm told to speak on towards a new HR philosophy, do the changing time mandate a changing role for the HR. It's not that I'm for it or I'm against it. I'm just put the inputs which I feel. HR philosophy, it has evolved, from the time when we are supporting the business. And this is the time, if I have to tell you, all the plastic HR, the soft HR is out. Today, it is a time of to be or not to be. When we started, if you remember, we were in thick of appraisals, and we have to give the employee, and directors have mentioned a beautiful word called trust. And with my previous job where I was a captain in Indian Army, if I have to tell this word is quite dense. It is quite heavy. Now, when we used to go for an operation, this word used to be that if there is a bunch of people, there is a platoon which has gone and launched an operation, we all feel for each other and we all trust each other. It means that we care and we are standing next to each other, and we all know that no one will run away from there. Yeah. So that is number one premise, if I have to tell you, the heavy word called trust. Yeah. The second thing which I want to mention is resilience, and which I have been talking throughout last about 7-8 months in different colleges, which is bouncing back. Yeah. So things were bad, things things are going slowly, we are recuperating. But in this scenario, how to bounce back is the real factor, not only for the economy, for every people who is a part of the economy. When I say even the students, yeah, I know we say today, and it's a typical way of telling, how are you? And we say we are fine, but we know internally it is not like that. When we started, when the unlockdown 1.0 started happening, when we started opening, we could feel that there is a bit of fearfulness in every employee, right? And my HR colleagues will talk more here, where we opened the company and there would have been cases, things. I tell you, this is quite a funny disease. This is how I mention it. 1 month back, I had the disease. Things were, I fell sick. Things were not that bad, and honestly, it was quite severe for me. This is how it happens, right? So when this fear factor is there, we have to see in the eyes of each other and say that, okay, it will be fine. Where HR, when in various forum, when I say HR is like a mother, and this true care factor, even which directors I was mentioning, has not even only to be displayed, has to be felt, right? We had various initiative, and when I say plastic HR, those just a mere engagement which used to be there has to be felt now, right? It is thus that's something where employee connects to the purpose of the organization or not. Yeah. Where now we are almost in Q4. Many organizations follow the calendar year or financial year, but almost the Q4 is festivities are here. A lot of business will be recuperating in this scenario. But how do you connect the employee and how that workforce is completely motivated? Again, it is something which is there, a question for all of us, and we had with our initiatives putting forward. And the last word which I have to tell you is the crude leadership. Leadership was a very, very often used term. I'll say rather loosely used term, right? And the real form of leadership, which is what I learned in Army, was leading from the front. And this was a scenario to showcase it. Yeah, if the leaders in the organization don't set the right tone, don't set the right momentum, yeah, things doesn't fall into shape, fall into place, right? So with these three words to create again a matter of positivity, rather being real, reality. If I have to tell you again few words, I just wrote for all of you. Act no future, however present, however pleasant. Let the dead past bury its dead. Act in the living present, hurt within and God overhead. So these are the things where we have to act in the present, we have to be together, we have to be stronger, we have to be caring to the people to the left of us and right of us, and pushing the entire ecosystem forward and telling that we can do it. And together, if we are, I'm quite sure and quite positive that with this tone, what we are setting today, beautiful words were used, Manthan, Hridaya. If we move forward, I'm quite positive that things will be in shape, things will be in right form very soon. So that's all from my side. Thanks a lot. We'll talk more during the discussion. It is an honor and privilege to be here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir. And I will we can now start with the panel discussions. I'll now hand over to Professor Anupama Sharma. Ma'am, we can start with the discussion.
Okay, so again, a warm welcome to all of you. And thank you very much, all the panelist members who have agreed, who have accepted our invitation to be here on the weekend, as Professor Chandrasekhar was mentioning. And I thank you, thank you very much to Captain Pranav and Professor Chandrasekhar to do a wonderful job at setting the context. So I think without any delay, I will, start the discussion. I will start, asking questions to our panel members. And maybe what I was thinking, given this digital mode, I have gone through, the profiles of our panelists today. And I will ask some specific question to, specific panel members, given their vast and enriching experience over the years. And please feel free, other panel members, please feel free to pitch in whenever you feel like. So I will start with Ms. Vipra. You are with Miro, and Miro, as I learned that it's a 5-6 years old company. And within 3 years, you have been able to recruit 730, employees and raise $300 million in such a short time. Now I guess this Corona has put some speed breakers. So, startups, I guess, we would regard this as, young company. How young company and startups can deal with situations like this, like Corona, where people, might be young. As I understand the profile of the company, there are photographers, young photographers who are collaborating all over the world. So how do we deal with such situation when the startup or a young company is actually growing exponentially over the years, and these speed breakers do come? How do we flatten this speed breaker? How do we keep the morale high of these people? Because I also assume that people who are gravitating towards, joining young companies, startups, they are not that particular about stability or routine job. I mean, that the large organizations may provide them. I mean, there is kind of a stability, there is kind of, predictability when you are working with stable organizations, large organizations. But maybe startups and, young companies are thriving on, opposite things, maybe the unpredictability, the uncertainty, and the adrenaline rush that you get every day. So how, Miro as a company, how you as, HR leader ensuring that the spirit of this startup or the young company is intact even during such tough times? Over to you, Ms. Vipra. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear? I'm audible?
Yeah. Very well. Yeah, we can hear.
So I think with startups, you said it very correct. The the myth in the mind is that yes, we are unstable, and with Corona time, I would say with pandemic, the situation has worsened for some startup. Miro being a company which is 3 years old into the market, but in India it was only 1 year old. So, and the second thing which you rightly said, the crowd is very, very, very young. Okay. So the most crowd is rightly from the college, or would have worked 1 year into the industry. One thing, when this pandemic happened, we were very much clear about three things which took this things very politely. One was, we have to be transparent. We have to build a culture which is transparent and have transparency, and we talk more about it. So we were very, very transparent about what is happening in business. Second thing, there will be no pay cuts. What we are doing, we will tell our teams directly, so it goes away and they work and they give their full productivity. Second thing which we did was communication. So continuous communication to the employees was very much needed at this time. We always found out that if you have a very clear communication with your team, you are at a stage where there will be no doubts. The doubts such like, okay, now Corona time has come. Will it affect our jobs? Will be having pay cuts? Will be laid off? Because all kind of newses were there, rumors were there. So this is the second thing, that communication is the second aspect that we followed. The third thing that we did, we have to touch points the life of the employees via employee engagement. Now we all know we are not working in the office, right? We need to have a place where we connect with them virtually, talk to them. If there are any issues that we need to address their mental well-being, we should be there. So we keep such kind of employee engagement activities which touch the lives of employees, make an impact, and also gives us a sense that yes, we are connected. So these three things, I would say, really helped us through pandemic, and it's still helping us. But last, I think where Miro actually worked as a startup was the learning platform. Most of the young crowd right now is basically where that they need to learn a lot. And this was the right moment for us to launch a learning platform for Miro itself, so they can learn virtually and be there. So they can have all the necessary trainings to be attended via this platform. So I think most three things that I believe on is, be engaged with your employees, have a transparency, and have clear communication. These three pillars helped, I would say, leadership team and Miro India to build up.
Okay. Yeah, I think so. Any panel members who would like to add or would like to draw a contrast between maybe the startup, how the startup ecosystem is dealing with the situation, and how maybe a stable company is dealing with the situation. Are there similarities, or is there any contrast between when it comes to the size of the company, size of the organization? Maybe Mr. Sudipto, if you would like to add, you represent a Star Cement, and I think it's fairly stable company. So any contrast you are able to draw with what Ms. Vipra mentioned?
I guess Mr. Sudipto had some network issues. He will be joining in a few minutes.
Okay, fine. So I think I will bring Ms. Jyoti over here, and there is one is Ms. Jyoti over here? Are we connected to her?
Okay, hi. I was not able to unmute myself. Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Nice to see you. Yeah. So my question to you is that, we are living, I guess, in very paradoxical world. We see so many times there are articles, there are, pieces in the newspaper that people are losing their jobs. Firing is happening all around the world. And at the same time, we have also observed that there has been a surge in, hiring. So firing and hiring, layoffs and recruitment both are happening at the same time, which is little confusing. So is it because, this demand supply curve has actually, is imbalanced a little bit, means that demand maybe for certain jobs, the demand is stable, demand has not changed, but given the scenario, people are not leaving their stable job, maybe they don't want to take risk, and that is why the supply has gone down. Demand has remained same, but supply has gone down. One another aspect can be that I'm just assuming, and that some skills, the demand for some skills has gone up, and maybe the skills which are obsolete, not relevant in these days, or maybe not or maybe outdated, have are actually facing the brunt, right? So what is this happening, since you are working in the scenario where the cutting edge, you are working with this data foundry, and artificial intelligence is the thing that you are surrounded with on everyday basis. What do you think, what is happening over here? I mean, we want to understand this, what is this paradox, the hiring firing at the same time? Is this AI machine learning, is it playing a big role in this whole gamut? Yeah, over to you.
Thank you, Anpurna. And this is very apt question related to the current scenario. Before I answer your question, one thing I would like to highlight here: the Great Reset underscored the fact that the new reality is vastly different than the reset that was needed earlier, has transformed into a Great Reset now at all levels of the business. It means that HR needs to be adaptable as never before. We must realize that this is a journey, not a destination or a project that will ever be completed. It's going to be forever. Intensity may change. The change may be of high level, medium level, or a lower level, but change is going to be there around, has been there, and will be there. And to do that, we are going to need to have the courage to be open-minded and flexible, able to listen to other people with understanding and empathy, be keen to learn, be resilient, and be willing to face uncertainty and challenges. Why I'm talking about all that? Because this has the reflection on the hiring and the firing that we are talking about. The pandemic has disrupted the global economy, which has in turn had a tremendous impact on the job market. We all know that. Pandemic like COVID-19 test organization agility and risk mitigation strategies. Talking about the human behavior, and you also come from organization behavior background, faced with any crisis, our first and instant response is to steady the boat. Immediate damage control, isn't it? So in order to save the entire boat, we need to unload, which is becoming, which may create a boat to sink. And hence, a lot of companies, as an immediate impact of the pandemic, decided to be at the right size, right? So the question, how companies are responding to the COVID-19 crisis, we all know furloughs, layoffs, and hiring. All of these, correct? And according to Indian International Labour Organization, ILO, the lockdown measures across the globe are having devastating consequences on labor markets, affecting around 81% of the world's workforce. The pandemic has thrown our world into uncharted territory. Experts believe that COVID-19 may significantly impact the USD 180 billion Indian IT company sector. But the silver lining is that this is expected to be short-term challenges for IT industry. Talking about the other industries and the sectors, we are seeing a rationalization happening in almost every business and industry, be it by the way of headcount or salary. This is happening across temporary, permanent employees, contract employees who have been asked to go as companies in finance, insurance, retail, including e-com and FMCG. They squeezing out temporary staff first in a bid to trim cost. Talking about the early days of this pandemic, the May 2020 decline in hiring is led by industries like hotel, restaurant, travel, airlines, 91% decline in their hiring numbers. Retail, 87%. Auto ancillary, 76%. BFSI, 70%. So the job market across cities registered a double-digit dip in hiring of more than 50% people. So the biggest challenge in the recruitment industry right now is quite obvious. Some companies are hiring, some are firing. And those companies who have been impacted by COVID-19 are mainly travel and tourism, hotel, bars and restaurant, entertainment like cinema, theme park, casinos, business conferences and trade shows, manufacturers, mainly those that haven't received vital parts from China. Food delivery and restaurant have been one of the worst hit because people don't want that, no touch. It cannot be possible for the companies to like Swiggy and Zomato to, to take care of the touch. But yeah, over the period of time, they are coming up with the strategies and the processes where no human touch is experienced. Health and fitness startup talk about CureFit. They have reported like a complete gone from the market. Another sector to be severely impacted due to the coronavirus pandemic is aviation industry. We all know. We are not traveling. Companies have a travel restrictions across the world. People want to be where they are for the safety and security. So these industries are hit by this current situation. But if I talk about September data, after the extensive hiring freeze in some of these companies during the lockdown, a significant rise in hiring sentiments is expected in January to March 2021. Current situation also has its upsides. Amidst the gloom, there are companies which are still hiring. Shipping and delivery companies hiring. Grocery store delivery services hiring. Online education and gaming. E-com, pharma and healthcare, food companies, remote meeting and communication companies. At this particular time, supply overwhelming the demand. Companies like Walmart said that the demand for everyday goods, such as goods and household essentials, have surged to the point that they need to hire 150,000 workers to handle it. Amazon is also planning to open 100,000 new positions across to meet the challenges, the new requirement during this pandemic time. Now, let's talk about the roles and the skills which are in demand and increasing with everyday passing. Cloud computing skills, AI, data analytics, solution selling skills, design skills, product marketing, program management, and most importantly, intellectual curiosity and intellectual humility are going to lead the way. It's no more a hard skill which is needed for job to be done perfectly. It is now a human skills which is going to take a lead. And hence we are talking about the intellectual curiosity. It's a kind of a new word for this word, but yes, we know the deep meaning, and the intellectual humility going to lead the world. Large technology companies such as Amazon, TCS, Accenture, Entity, they are offering 30% more salary to the people who are into cloud infrastructure engineers and chief information security officers. With the advent of working from home, the information security become a concern for all the companies who are working in the cloud. So the cyber security is becoming one of the concern, and hence those areas are going to grow more, where we'll see more and more hiring happening. Because the cloud migration picks up pace across sectors. Now, how the new normal leading to the next normal, if I have just, 10 seconds more, what it
Sure.
in place. See, demand for gig workers is on the rise as companies get increasingly familiar with work from home and look to cut fixed employees' costs, as well as to widen the talent pool. The hybrid workforce model is going to lead. We are going to see that. As of now, also we are seeing, but it's going to accelerate more in coming days. The time taken for filling leadership position in companies have reduced by half due to online working. The ease of holding interview virtually has reduced, and the time the travel fatigue for companies and the candidate has also reduced. So people have started, in fact, social initiative to help job seekers community on a scale and launched various platform wherein they are helping the job seekers and the companies who are hiring. One of the initiative I remember, Accenture, and I got an invitation because in Data Foundry, we are in the space of artificial intelligence and machine learning, and we are there in pharma and healthcare. Good for us. During the 6 months of time, we have increased 2x. We have doubled our company size in India and Armenia and other different locations. We are hiring everywhere. And this is the era where we are trying to give a solution to the problem faced by everyone. It's not particular sector or a section of the people. Something which you can ease out and give solution to the people, the life. And I think Data Foundry as an organization has a role to play. We are helping the big organization to come out with the vaccine soon because our platform is used for clinical trials. So we are in that niche area where we have seen a growth which is multiplying every day. We already have a plan for the next year, what we are going to do next. So it is a good news for many industries. There are companies which will, which will again revamp and come out with a different strategy, different business line, and cater to the business market well. So I hope I have taken enough time. So
yeah, you actually brought up very interesting discussion over here. So just on you mentioned two very interesting things, that curiosity and humility are two maybe characteristics or qualities that people would look for in new hires or maybe the existing ones. But how do we inculcate these qualities, or how do we identify that the new people we are hiring, we are recruiting, do have such things? Is there any way to maybe quantify, if not quantify, I mean, is there any way to identify and inculcate these qualities in the workforce, in the existing workforce?
Valid question, and I'm so happy to answer this. When times change, we need to rethink the way we approach work. And now is the time to take stock of the tectonic shift at work and reimagine the way we do the things. And I can tell you, I recently had a conversation with LinkedIn senior official, L&D official, and they reported me, this is the time during 6 months, the mindfulness program is something which has picked up so well. People themselves have gone and learned about what is mindfulness, what it is all about, people, their potential, being human, bring that human element, whatever you do. So this is the natural curiosity people are showing towards being human first and then be professional. In Data Foundry, I can quote you, this is my initiative is the HR, that we connect with the people, not with their titles. And for me, I give my example, people know me as the HR head of Data Foundry. I said, no, this is my title. You should know who's behind the title, who is Jyoti Singh, and try to bring that connection, which is going to be everlasting. Because we are human beings, we can connect with each other on a different level also, right? It's not always like you only need to talk about work, or it has to be a transactional relationship. I think when we bring that humane element into our conversation, into our vision, the way we do the things, I think the whole equation gets changed. And I have experienced that. I'm talking from experience. So one of the program that we have initiated at Data Foundry, that it's not only about mindfulness. I think there's one step ahead we need to go as a human being to have the heart full of happiness, heartfulness, you can call it. So this is a program conducted by international speaker, Mr. Prem Rawat. He has this program called Timeless Today. So in Data Foundry, we all have that module to go through. It's all about bringing back focus on you, because you are the source of your happiness. Do you know that? As a human being, we have good in us, we have bad in us. Which side you keep showing to the people and to this world, right? We have both. Choice is ours. So the mindfulness and the heartfulness, both. The wisdom and the knowledge of the human being need to be at the perfect balance at this point of time. It's not only the intellect which is required at the workplace today. The perfect level of wisdom is also required, which can only be offered by the human being to another human being. I think that's so important to bring forward. And in Data Foundry, we have already made the attempt. During the interview, this is my responsibility to see the culture fit. I want to know who's joining the organization as a human being. And we are able to bring that.
So I would bring in, Mr. Yashwant over here. So, Mr. Yashwant, you have been with Gale for such a long time, and I think you stand out in the panelist because Gale is of course a state-owned and government company. Government organization. We want to understand from you that is there any difference that how HR managers are dealing with the situation vis-a-vis, is there any contrast between how HR managers are coping with the situation in their private organization, with respect to or in comparison to the government organizations? How government organizations are actually dealing with the situations? What role HR managers are playing in such tough situations in government scenario and government setup?
Okay,
What are the please go ahead.
Yeah. Very good morning, ma'am, and very good morning to everyone, to the esteemed panelists, the students community at large. I first of all, I thankfully, very gratefully, I extend my deep gratitude to the IIM Visakhapatnam for inviting me to this great conclave, and I look forward for this great learning opportunity. I come from a sector which is into the oil and gas sector, and which happens to be one of the pulse sector of the economy. Being in the oil and gas sector and the energy sector at large, this sector is very, very critical because it is actually impacting huge number of sectors, because there are so many sectors which are dependent on the energy part, right? Without it, nobody can sustain. You have seen in the lockdown. So I'll start with that, भरा नहीं जो भावों से बहती जिसमें रसधार नहीं, वो हृदय नहीं वो पत्थर है जिसमें स्वदेश का प्यार नहीं. So we take a lot of pride in coming from this this background of the energy sector and being a part of the government and the public sector at large, because we have a huge responsibility in terms of not just the people management, but also delivery on the economy front. Now, coming back to your question, ma'am, you said that one of the key challenges and the opportunities for the people function within the sector. So I'll share some key thoughts which are going to be the major areas, not just for the private sector, but for the public sector at large, because human resource management, the people management domain is so critical for every business. So these challenges will be overlapping in a way. And there would be obviously some challenges where there could be some difference in the way of working of both the organizations. So I'll share that one of the core challenges basically. So I'll start with the mindset with which we are working. So the number one is obviously the business mindset which is required. So that in itself is a challenge and an opportunity for both private and public sector, because as a HR professional we are firstly business management professional. That is very, very important to understand. It is important to understand the business context wherein we are operating in. We need to understand the bigger picture. What is actually running the organization? That's very, very critical, because as a professional, if you understand that, okay, if we are in the oil and gas sector, and as a company, Gale as a company, our objective is to make clean energy available to the masses, the affordable energy available to the masses, and at a cost which is acceptable to all, right? So that is the mission with which our organizations are working. So as a HR professional, we need to understand that the purpose behind of the organization, with which we are leading in. And so in order to do that, we truly need to be a strategic enabler, because that alignment has to be there between our processes of people management and the overall business scenario. If there is no linkage whatsoever, then probably we are not going to be doing the justice to the overall function as a whole. Because then as an HR function, we bring a lot of value to the table. And that's very important to understand. But how do we maximize this value? That is going to be critical. So it is not just about the employee per se. Employee is definitely at the center. But you also need to look at the overall stakeholders who are involved, our investors. What about our customers? What about our vendors? How can we create an organization which is going to win the market for the organization? Can we gift an organization to our employee which can actually surpass the market expectations and bring in a culture of innovation and creativity? So for delivering the business deliverables, it is very important that we understand the business context. That's very, very number one. Then within the business mindset, we need to rethink the business model. We have to understand that in the traditional models of linear models, say for example in the automobile sector, right? The way we used to hire taxis, right? There used to be an agency through which we need to hire the taxis, right? But look at the non-linear model of it. You have companies like Uber who have never actually owned a vehicle, but they have actually managed to kind of create a leadership in that domain. How do we do that? Can we look at creating an organization like Airbnb, which is not even owning a single hotel chain, right? But still they are kind of leading in the business. So that is the kind of rethinking of the business model which you need to understand. Thirdly, very important that how do we reimagine the customer? How the customer choices are getting changed. So we are now into the pandemic, right? Which is one of the black swan event which has created unparalleled, unprecedented situation. Not just leading to the loss of revenue, the cash flow issues, the company are facing the profit depletion, leading to loss of wages, loss of employment, and actually resulting into hunger, poverty of masses, right? Look at a scenario where you have millions and millions of school children dropping out of the school. So this is the kind of situation we are into. So we are all in this together. We need to be very, very resilient. We need to understand the customer choices. If you look at the entire pandemic situation, everybody, literally have moved to the virtual platform. Look at the learning and development domain. We are not talking about, delivering a customized learning experience through the virtual learning domain. Now, this kind of a thing was never imaginable in a pre-COVID world. So the COVID has come as a challenge and also as an opportunity for all of us to learn, understand, and reposition ourselves for the future. And that is going to be critical. So this is the business context I am talking about. Second, a very, very important core area which we need to, which is a very key challenge and an opportunity for all of us, is into the domain of digital mindset. So do we as a HR professional, as a people professional, do we have a digital mindset? Can we rethink the workforce alignment in the new normal? So for example, now with the new labor codes coming in, there is going to be increased participation of the gig workers. There is going to be a fixed term employment increase in the economy. There is going to be a lot of flexibility within which the businesses are operating, right? So how do we channelize this entire thing to the digital platforms and make sure that that digital technology is leveraged to create and work-life integration? We could have never imagined that a work-from-home kind of a scenario could have existed prior to the pre-COVID world, right? In fact, the international study says that 90% of the organizations were not even using the work-from-home mode. But now we are doing that. Even in a manufacturing organization like Gale, we have explored those options, and we have gone ahead and utilized our technology to bring that into a reality. But obviously, there are so many challenges because being in a manufacturing sector, there are certain activities which cannot be done from home, right? So as a part of our response to the pandemic, we were required not just to take care of ourselves, not just to take care of our families, but we had to actually demonstrate the empathetic leadership and also demonstrate that we are resilient to the core by bringing the services, which are the essential services, to the masses of this country. So that is about making sure that the LPG transmission, the natural gas transmission, the CNG, the compressed natural gas, which you are using at your home, right? Which you are using in the transportation sector, the PNG, which you are using at home. So how do we ensure that within this disturbed environment, within this changed environment, how do we ensure that we deliver all these business models, these services, the essential services, which are very, very core to the economy, to our customers and clients at large. So that's the second mindset which I was talking about. And how do we do more with the less? So as I talked about the digital mindset, so with the technology part, we can definitely do more with the less. Right. So obviously in the learning and development domain, we could never imagine that there could be a customized kind of a learning experience for each and every one. Because earlier we were a classroom setting. So it was not possible to design an intervention for specific to a particular individual. But with the revised scenario, we can definitely think about all such kind of interventions which can help our people to not just develop themselves, but to make a great impact out of it. Then how do we, from this mindset of the digital, how do we ensure that we democratize the process of talent management? So you have a performance management system, right? Now, how do we ensure that the performance management system which we are having in the organization are truly democratic in its nature, right? So these processes have to be completely transparent. It has to be outcome oriented. It should not be just a process oriented, because there has to be an impact of the performance management evaluation on the final business outcome. If my sales team is not able to do a particular task or not able to achieve a particular target, how do we ensure that the entire performance management system is designed in such a way so that those issues are addressed? So the talent discussions are very, very important. Next, the core areas which is there is about the inclusive mindset. Yeah, so that is very, very critical, because in every organization we must not forget that as an individual, as an HR professional, we all are living in a society. We are a part of a society, and we all are well aware that there's so many prejudices available in the society, right? There's people who carry with themselves many biases, right, in their heads. So how do we ensure that as a people professional, as an HR professional, we create an environment which is truly inclusive in its nature? So how do we remove the biases? For example, the biases towards certain section of the society, the bias towards a gender, right? How do we ensure that there are more and more women who are part of the workforce? If you look at the current scenario, even in India also, we have hardly 23% of the labor participation rate for women, right? How do we ensure that we move from those numbers to a respectable number? In most of the organization, the number of women participation as a part of the workforce is less than 5%. How do we move towards a scenario where we actually make them a part of our growth? And it is very important, because that is a diversity initiative which is there, and with the diversity we can actually create innovation, because with the diversity there will be different perspectives which will come into play, and those different perspectives will eventually help our businesses to deliver the value to the masses across the world. So that is very, very critical. And also, as a part of the inclusive mindset, we need to understand that we have to, as Prasanth also very rightly said, that how do we create a culture of trust and the transparency, the positivity in the organization? How do we make every organization a vibrant organization, wherein every individual is feeling involved, wherein the voices of even the younger lot is being taken care of, it's been taken on the board. We are talking about mentoring kind of a initiative. We can also talk about the reverse mentoring kind of activities, which are very critical, because there are so many things which we can learn from our future generations. Because definitely, especially in the public sector, we have a multi-generational workforce. You have people from the baby boomers to the X generation, to the voice generation, right? So how do we manage the expectation of this multi-generation and multi-cultural workforce? That is going to be the key. And if you can actually understand all these issues and manage these in the larger business context, that is going to be an inclusive mindset with which we are going to lead. The next very important element is about the championing mindset. So as I know, HR leaders, how do we champion the activities that we are bringing into the domain, right? So the processes which we are designing. So do we have a design thinking to kind of connect it with the final business outcome? For example, we have a PMS process. We have a talent management process. We have a succession planning process. So do we have, as a HR professional, do we have a change management agenda, right? How do we, portray all these change management initiatives through, various techniques? For example, we can brand, all these activities as a part of the championing mindset. How do we, sponsor all these key activities to create a change in the organization, to create that value that, yes, the processes are very much important. We need to have succession planning in the company so as to ensure that the leadership development happens on a continuous basis. And we are an organization which is going to win the market. So that's very, very critical. And we can obviously, we can use multiple techniques for that. So as a leader, you need to have those influentials. So leadership is not about the position. It is definitely not about the position. It is about your ability to inspire the masses. It is about ability to connect the youth of the country to the vision that you envisage, right? And it is our ability to manage that vision and to ensure the delivery of that vision by creating, the teams which are going to be the leaders for the future. And the last, a very important core area which I would like to talk about from the opportunity and challenge perspective is the collaborative mindset. So as a HR leader, do we have the collaborative mindset or not? So it is about, the creating of the social dialogue process. So now we have, all these, labor codes coming into picture, right? The new labor codes which have been designed by the government. How do we take these labor codes forward? How do we ensure that, the social dialogue between the management and the unions at large is truly participative in nature, is truly collective in nature? Because having union is not bad at all. As long as we are making and engaging with them in a very meaningful way, which can ensure the productivity, the efficiency for the organization, and harmonious employee relations and the industrial relations at large. Because never forget that it is important for an organization to have very, very good harmonious employee relations so as to actually make the business productive. Because if there's an issue because of the IR threat, I'm very sure that and no business can survive without having a great IR scenario in the organization. So these are some of the thoughts, and obviously stakeholder management is very, very critical because, especially from the IR perspective, it is important to understand that who all are the critical factors, the critical players with whom we need to engage. So this is the background which I would like to share with the participants. I'm open to the questions which you have on.
Yeah, thank you. So I would like, Mr. Sudipto to come over here. And Mr. Sudipto, you have, around 20 years of experience across many industries. I want to understand from you that is there any conversation going on in HR fraternity to, revise or modify the performance appraisal process, or the compensation and benefits and rewards structure, because so many things have changed with this corona and just in a short time. And I guess it's too soon to implement things, but is there any conversation or HR fraternities foreseeing some changes, especially when it comes to performance appraisal, when it comes to compensation, benefits and rewards, how they are structured and how they are going to be revised or maybe changed altogether? Mr. Sudipto.
Yes, thank you, Professor. I think before we get into performance appraisal, let's briefly understand what do we mean by performance, right? So I'll actually break down each of those words so that we have better clarity. And then I think we need to really look at the overall context, how every word or every subject can fit in, right? So performance has got two dimensions. One is that as an individual level, are we really meeting our targets with regard to sales, productions, etc.? And on the other hand, there is another dimension which is extremely important, which is role-based. When we look at managers or leaders' role, they are not really responsible for only delivering numbers, but their larger role is how do you inspire team, how do you build team, and thereby deliver results through your team. At the same time, when you look at performance, performance is also very relative and it has to be seen in the context. And primarily there are two contexts. One is your internal context in your organization, another is your external context. So now, in a situation like pandemic, I think all of us are aware that external context has gone through a tremendous transformation. We really used to talk about VUCA in the years 2012, 13, 14. But what real VUCA is, nobody understood what we are understanding now. And I think, we use a lot of jargons, 360-degree concept, etc. But now we are realizing all those concepts are actually coming in. So it's not about just real VUCA world, but we are also understanding that the real globalization is happening now. So it was very nice to talk about the globalization, but could you really think that in a globalization context, there is no boundary? So it's a boundaryless work that is happening. At the same time, it's a boundaryless disease that's spreading. It started with China and it has taken a severe look in the other side of the planet, which is in US. Forget about India, which is a neighboring country, right? It's all across it is happening. So we have to also understand when we're talking about the external context that in this world, nothing is insular. And if we think that being in corporate, we are safe, being rich, we are safe, or just because we are in this country, we are safe, those myths are to be broken. So if any particular strata of the society is getting affected, that is actually affecting the whole ecosystem. So that's how the context has to be re-understood now. And I think the new context is telling us that let's go back to basics and fundamentals. I think all the theories that we talk about in HR and otherwise, I think that's also coming strongly in this current context. So performance in the context has completely changed, and we need to not only acknowledge that, we need to also put that. So that then I'll come back to appraisal later, but before that, we also, let's talk about the other words or the topics that you mentioned, the compensation. Okay, so when we understood the performance, then let's look at the compensation. And compensation again has two dimensions. Compensation is always market specific, right? A laborer who is getting paid in remote corner of India would be paid very differently in another country in Europe or another country in US. It's always comparable to your market as far as the external market is concerned. But at the same time, it has also got an internal context. So in internal context, we talk about job evaluation, which is nothing but the relative worth of a job. So as an organization, I decide that, okay, how is that job important? I think Ms. Jyoti talked about AI, ML, and other digital skills, which are going to get paid highly or differently. Yes, that's how organizations talk about the identification of hot skills or hot jobs, and then they pay it differently. But if I look at it at a macro level, even internally, we have something called ability to pay. Even in the market, particular job or maybe particular industry is getting paid highly. But if as an organization, I'm not profitable and my ability to pay is not there, sorry, I really can't pay. So these two important principles are the fundamentals of the core about deciding about the compensation. Then it comes rewards. That's the third subject, I think, or the topic you talked about, Professor. I think rewards are, again, it's very relative, right? Relative to somebody's expectations or aspirations. When you give a reward to someone, he might feel wow. But if you really give the same reward to someone else, he might think that, okay, I was expecting something different, and this is a slap on my face. So you have to be very sensitive towards that, okay, whom are you rewarding and in which context I'm rewarding. So in this context, now let's come back that appraisal part. I think all the HR professionals, we are aware that 2014, 15, 16, there are big discussions happening that in the area of performance management, do we need bell curve or not? And that discussion has evolved to that level where we are saying, do we actually need performance management or not? So when you ask the HR professionals that, okay, tell me what is the core objective of performance management, many of them, they say that that's basically about motivating people to do their, so that they can give more. But are we in our process actually motivating people so that they are giving more? There is a question mark that was not raised today, but that was raised a few years ago. And there are few organizations, they have actually moved away completely from performance management system. One of the examples in India is Volvo. I think there are a lot of conditions, a lot of maturity, a lot of context, which are important before you decide to take a leap like that. But yes, it is possible. So now under these, all those points that I mentioned, that now look at this in the current context, when we talk about performance appraisal, yes, we are also deliberating that when we don't know what is going to happen tomorrow in terms of the business context, are we really able to appraise our employees in a manner which is fair, transparent, or give them a proper target? We are not sure. So we said that under the current circumstances, there are certain other important aspects which are important in terms of how employees are showing their values, how are they aligning with the culture of the organizations and working together collaboratively to understand and wake up to the need of the hour, which is that how do we align ourselves towards the market need and the business need, and of course all the employees need. So that's why constantly changing your performance goals in the current situation and giving them a feeling that you are getting measured from time to time is also not right. And that context, rather, we would say we have decided that we are not going to do a so-called performance appraisal per se. Rather, we are going to go back to that, our director's word, that the first important element at this time of COVID or uncertainty is about trust. How do you trust our employees and how do you empower them so that they actually deliver more than what is required, and which we are seeing it. And the trust and empowerment doesn't come in one day. There are again a lot of back-end work that one needs to do. And I think today, in adverse situations, the true characters of the organizations are also coming up, saying that is it that we are uttering a lot of jargons just because we want to show it to the external world, or this is the kind of a real DNA of our organizations, which talks about taking care of employees, supporting them near the need of the hour, being fair and transparent, and so on and so forth. It's not necessary we need to always talk about that. It is important to talk it moderately, but most importantly, how leaders walk the talk and how employees actually experience that and feel that the real value and culture. So just to give a brief, fact, at the beginning of the lockdown, it was very clearly mentioned by the leadership and the top management to all our employees that employee well-being and safety is going to have utmost importance. So we said that whatever happens, we are going to ensure that not only just our employees, but our contract employees also, they get paid during the lockdown time, whether they are able to work or not. Of course, I mean, there is a limit. We need to see that if lockdown continues for months or years, then we need to decide separately. But that's about again the ability to pay. But as long as the ability to pay is there, how do we support employees? That's number one. We say that it is not about employees internally, but also from the point of view of external point of view, that how do we ensure that our customers are getting whatever they are due in terms of the commitment that we have done? How do we take care of the society by way of our CSR activities? So very clearly, when we started the unlock, the strong message again and again was reiterated that even if you have to stop your production, even if you have to stop your sales, please go ahead and do that. If there's a single smell of compromising with safety and health. So that's the kind of a powerful message that we have given. And when you do that, when you, when not only just employees, the whole world is actually in that apprehension that I'm going to really live, I'm going to get affected by Corona. And the second question that whether there'll be a pay cut, whether there'll be a job for me. So if you're able to take care of these basics, we also talk about that. That's how I think the motivation also comes in, because if you go by those all so-called earlier theories of Hertzberg, Maslow, and they all talk about that first take care of the basics, first take care of the psychological, physiological needs, and then slowly move into psychological needs and then self-esteem, right? So those are the things very important, and I think we need to look every process of HR in the larger context. So is for the performance appraisal. And I think that's how I need to really relook, realign, and see that whether we really need performance appraisal or not. Then the question that comes in that how do we then reward people? So because the challenge that would come is not about just giving increment or not giving increment. Challenge would come, how are you going to motivate and retain particularly your top talent? That's why I think we need to also understand psychology, and we say that in this current time, when you are not very sure about business, when you are not very sure about market scenario, what is important is that how are you going to motivate them by way of job enrichment, giving new opportunities, encouraging them to participate in decision making, and embracing new ideas from employees. I think that will give them a better sense of belonging within the organizations, and that's where I think they will give their best beyond their capacity. So I think these are some of the aspects I'd like to just put forth in this discussion, and I'll be happy to probably get questions from others and counter discussions. But just before I close, I think I'd like to also talk about another point, that when you talked about AI, ML, and new opportunities, yes, this has created a lot of new opportunities in this new pandemic situation, where we are saying that things are happening more efficiently, probably using the digital method. But the question is that, how HR is working in this context towards ensuring that the emotional aspect of employees is also taken care of. So while it is important to acknowledge the digital savviness of HR, but I think more importantly, I think the real skills of HR would also come in the current situations, where even people who are struggling to make themselves digitally savvy, how as HR is emotionally connecting and supporting the employees in terms of upskilling them, and also telling them, don't worry, even if you're at the age of 55 not able to learn a new technology that well, we'll ensure that, okay, you will be able to contribute in a context where you can do better. Not necessarily that you have to upskill yourself, and if you can't upskill, your job will be at a threat. No, not like that. And that's why I think, how do you mentor, how do you counsel, how do you empathize, and how do you show compassion to your employees? Those aspects are extremely important by HR. And I would say that I'm sorry that I think for the last couple of decades, I have seen there's a lot of so-called new wave that came in, that HR has to be absolutely analytical and digital, which is important. But at the same time, we have started losing the core aspects of HR, where we need to be a human being first, and how do you connect with the employees and the ecosystems like a human being, and how do you develop our skills towards that is also becoming important. So another point, I think, Professor, which I could not respond initially because I think I was not allowed to unmute because of a technical problem, I think, at the beginning. But you asked about a counterpoint, whereas I think the first panelist, she talked about the new age industry, whereas what is my thought? I think in that context, I would say that yes, work from home is important, but at the same time, in an industry where majority of work happens on the production or on the field, that is either on the shop floor or on the sales front, there it is also important that how are we becoming fair? So if we give the opportunity to all of our employees to work from home, a majority of our employees would not be able to work from home. And that is also unfair. So I think we need to keep in mind the fairness. And if you are saying that, risking their lives, if our sales forces are fighting out on the field, or if your productions, forces, they're traveling to shop floor every day, how do we, as an enabling functions or IT and others, we are also showing our empathy by saying, yes, we are also coming to office to support you or to be beside you. And that's why the whole aspects of collaboration, teamwork, and motivation works. And that's actually depicts the true value, shows the true values of the organizations. And that's how the culture is built. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your sharing your thoughts. Dr. Ankita, I would like you to, jump in over here. You have been, CHRO of the year for last 4 or 5 consecutive years, and you have played an instrumental role in, making Signex as, feature and great place to work. Again for last 4 or 5 years on a consecutive, basis. So, and what do you? I mean, audience and including me would like to understand that what are those internal and external factors or elements that make a company a great place to work? And there is a reason that why some companies do feature in such list and remainings don't feature. And given this situation, this whole transformation is coming in the workplace and the how people are doing business. Are there going to be any shift in those factors or elements that are actually responsible or that are actually making these companies a great place to work? What are your thoughts on that?
Thanks, Anupma. That's a wonderful question. And first of all, thanks IMV for the invitation. It's a privilege to be here. A very valid question. I think initially Director Sir, in a way, had answered this question where he said, take care of employees and they will take care of business. Actually, in a way, if you take care of employees, they take care of everything, which is within business or related to business. As we all know, workforce is primarily, responsible for declaring a place as a great place to work, because whether we get certified or when we internally do any survey, it's all about their input. And what I have realized, I have been with the same group for last 16 years, and I don't think employees ever over expect value for existence or career development or job clarity or any other aspect is very much or equally important. And I think these are very well taken care by HR. But if we talk about the current situation when the entire world got hit by COVID-19, and we are still seeing probably humongous changes around us, everything is so uncertain and directionless. So according to me, HR now has to definitely focus a little more on communication and well-being, as most of our panel members also spoke about it. Understand what has changed and how HR can enable workforce. If HR remains ethical in all the approaches and is able to build that trust factor, which is so much required in any organization, I think we are set. When we are talking about great place to work or a great culture, I think it may sound difficult, but it's the simplest thing to do if you know how to take care of your people. And trust me, I would not say pre-COVID, current situation, or post-COVID. We have kept few things very basic. When one model which I would want to talk about is care. It's not that we launched care because of COVID.
Mhm.
Care was always there, and care stands for communicate, adapt, respond, and empathize. So when I say communicate, don't just share the so-called big picture. I'm sure everybody has heard this term, share bigger picture with the employees. They should know what is happening. We have always believed that along with big picture, you have to share the smallest one as well. Talk to them. Don't just keep telling what is happening. Understand. Don't just keep explaining what is happening in the organization. Let the employee know that you are there for them. Share what are the plans with respect to salary, headcount, training, new projects, if at all any releases planned. We in HR, we strategically hide few things, and we feel that we should not be open out in front of the employees. We strongly believe the transparency has to be maintained. Without being transparent, you will never be able to create that trust factor, which is so very important and crucial. Second is adapt. We all have seen, like director said, sir also initially mentioned, we never thought we will use Zoom so much. We never thought that 200 plus will sit across and we will just talk so conveniently being in different places. I think HR has to equally learn to adapt, and that's what we have been doing in our organization. Our systems are not rigid, our policies are not rigid. If at all, we have put in a lot of efforts today and drafted something, and if tomorrow asks for a change, we do not shy away. We just change the policy. Forget about redesigning or rewording. If the ask is to just get onto a new mode, we do that. So readiness to embrace change becomes really important. All your approaches which are related to employees and business should be adaptable. A third part of care, which is R, and that stands for respond. I think timing is crucial. If at all I throw a ball towards you, and if you don't catch it at the right time, it's gone. There's no point in looking back and then thinking, what can I do? So responding to a situation like COVID, or to a smallest concern that is raised by employee, will only be a win if you do it at the right time. So we have all our systems very neatly defined at a basic level. We do not believe in doing things which are really hi-fi, or what all organizations probably are doing. We do a thorough check what is required by our organization, and at the same time we keep everything very basic. Very, the hygiene level is taken care, and we ensure that when we are needed, we are there. Probably not in a bigger picture or a bigger format, but even the smallest thing would help if at all it's done at the right time. Fourth aspect is empathize. If I look at the current situation, because of the pandemic, everybody is confused, worried, scared. Probably we can't change everything, or we can't change 80% of the things at this point in time, but at least we should ensure that we understand what everybody is going through and treat individuals well. In our organization, what we have followed, we stopped making our policies a general ones long back. We are more into personalized approach than generalized. We understand each individual is different, their circumstances are there different, their situation is different. Work from home is different from for everybody. Somebody is working from anywhere, and somebody is probably with four people, they're working from the same room. So we have redrafted all our approaches, and just to understand and cater to the need of our employees. So in a nutshell, I think just stay real, ensure that you are transparent, ensure that you value the people who exist in the system, and you are done. I don't think we have done anything magical or miraculous in last so many years. We have been certified for so many years at Great Place to Work. We have been certified as people with great managers. We have been certified as safest place to work, top 10 safest place to work in India. So, but if you ask about the magic mantra, I don't think I have any other than just being with our people as they expect us to be. And to conclude, I would take two words from your series or your initiatives, and I think that beautifully defines the need of HR to make a place a great place to work. And those two words are Hridaya. So HR definitely has to take care of mind and body of the employee, but if at all you take that extra step, you walk that extra mile and take care of heart as well. You show that connect, you tell them that, wherever the need is, we are there. And it's not only, mental support. It talks about development, it talks about giving them comfort, it talks about ensuring that they feel valued. It uh, showcases that when they get up, they definitely want to come to office because they know that they'll be respected and they are so much needed because we value their contribution. And that sums up to giving them a comfort and have a great feeling for the organization. And that's why I talked about heart. Your heart should be with the organization, and that's what your Hridaya talks about. And the second word which I would want to pick is manthan. HR, we have been talking of being human, and we have been talking about taking care of human resources. But yes, we all know we have moved up a ladder in significant manner. Well, initially it was just paperwork, transactional. Then we started talking about being transformational. Then we started talking about being business partners. Then we start talking about being strategic partners, and the ladder is just moving. According to me, I think base definition remains same. We are there as enablers. And when I say manthan, it's not only human resources, it's not only people. You have to get into a right mix which talks about business, market, people, and all the enabling functions. If you are able to take care, if you are able to collect the right kind of information and data from all these sources, if you can get it all on a table, probably connect all the dots really well. If you have your manthan in the right place, probably your organization will always be a great place to work. So that's my take on that. Thanks, Anupma.
Yeah, I think you have beautifully put it that, the most simplest things, be it personal life or professional life, bring the most fulfillment, be it, home or be it workplace. I will switch to Mr. Aditya, and, you have you have worked across all the functions of HR. So maybe our young audience would like to understand that when they graduate, what will be those competencies, skills, or qualities that they need to inculcate in them? Or maybe if I, put it this way, that what can be those maybe let's say certificates or courses, that they should be doing, they should, or maybe experiences that they should involved in while they are here, while they are actually still students and not in the field, not have joined, as HR managers. So what will be your opinion? What will be your thoughts for our new age managers, new age HR managers or leaders? What they should do?
Sure. Thank you, Anupama. That's a great question. And I would also like to set a larger context because I actually loved all the questions that you asked, and also from the panelists. We heard a lot of things about how HR is all about care, how HR has moved up the ladder, right from probably talking about basic time and attendance to how they are here. So actually, I think the needle has moved a lot, and probably in the last 6 to 8 months, the needle has moved even further. So I would like to probably start with the context there and how I've seen the evolution of HR probably over the last few years, and how it's moved, at least in my eyes, in Piramal Group, where I work currently, and also in Piramal Realty, so that we'll get a larger sense of it. So let me tell you, firstly, with Piramal Realty as a real estate brand, when things, and we are in Mumbai, and things weren't so great in real estate in Mumbai even earlier. But having said that, the larger brands have been doing relatively well because people now trust larger developers over smaller developers. So we had a decent time, and we've grown in the last 7-8 years. That's when we started to be in the top 4-5 developers pan-India. Now, having said that, March hit us really hard, and real estate probably was the last on anybody's mind, and our revenues dropped by almost 95%, and there were no walk-ins. Things were going helter-skelter, and we are not a tech-oriented organization as such, because people have to be on the field, people have to be going and constructing the homes. And with RERA now coming in, they say that if you do not adhere to timelines, then obviously there'll be penalty. And even more than that, we also have a moral obligation to people, right? Because we have to construct within time, and if people do not get home in time, they have all their plans itself going helter-skelter, because people manage their finances. They say that, okay, I will organize my rent in such a way, I'll organize my EMIs in such a way, and so on. So when one thing we observed, that because we are a global organization, we knew that things will be going in this way, because we have a lot of offices of ours even in Europe and the Americas. So when we heard that, the first port of call was to HR, believe me, because
It seems there's some network issue on Sir saying.
Yeah.
I think, ma'am, we can.
I think he looks connected, but maybe maybe because of some network connection. I see that he dropped out.
Yeah, are you able to hear me now?
Yeah. Now, welcome back. Yeah.
So when things then actually started off, then we started putting everything in place, a proper BCP plan in place. And how it worked out was we actually were the flag bearers for probably the entire real estate industry in Mumbai, because we started sharing our BCP plans with everybody, how things will work out and how we will get work done. Then post when that happened, we then looked internally and saw how the sales team will work, because sales is generally a very high touch in real estate. Some of you would have gone along with your parents. I'm talking about the student community or some of the other stakeholders who are there. You go along with the entire family and you want a look and feel of the place. You actually want to see how the locality is and so on. So we ensured that probably in the next 1.5 months, we got entire tech online. We ensured that people and the sales managers are able to communicate with the customers via the online medium. So people were talking about how HR has moved on from the general sense of being a admin function. We had to ensure that everything was running smoothly. We had to talk with multiple departments to ensure that things are running in this way and the tech is in place. Probably even ensure that people have a seamless transition even at home, because especially in Mumbai, it's not that people have large spaces to be in, and we have to even take care of that, ensure that even the technology tools reach them. So we had to go to such extent to ensure that things work out well. Apart from that, people spoke, I heard the panelists speak about care. So when and also somebody spoke about the Maslow's hierarchy, right? So when the safety and security itself is not in place, you don't talk about work. So we ensured and told everybody that don't worry about this. Whatever happens, we will take care of you. Whatever medical help you require, we will provide you that. Things were so bad in Mumbai even till a couple of weeks back that even the ambulances were not available for people in certain places. So we told them that even we'll take care of that. We'll ensure that the medication will reach your workplace. The doctors will be at your home, and we will take care of you. So just forget about the medical aspect. Whatever is the cost, we will take care of that. So even these aspects were there with us as Piramal Group even earlier, but we ensured that we re-emphasize that fact, and people are standing with us because we, as some of us said, it's always employees first. You take care of them and they will take care of you. Apart from that, constantly doing daily stand-ups, daily meetings. It's not about somebody spoke about the big picture, and we should also take care of the smaller picture as well. So absolutely bang on that. Talking about how it's every day, people spoke about how real estate will collapse and how people will lose their jobs. So we have to every day, in fact, tell people how our sales is going on, how construction is not being affected. We, for instance, we are not the primary construction folks when it comes to constructing our work on our sites. We have people like L&T and Shapurji building our sites. But then we went overboard. We said that we will take care of the construction workers as well, do a daily test, in fact, provide food to them, provide medical help to them. It's not only because it's the right thing to do, because it also makes a lot of business sense, right? Because if you don't take care of that, and if there is if something goes wrong, your entire construction site itself stops. So we had to go to that extent to take care of everybody there. Then when it comes to the second part, we had to focus a lot on innovation, which I said earlier, like tech, then also saving costs, how to leverage tech, how to improve the bottom line and top line. We had a great thought. We thought, let's use holacracy. We said that let's let people themselves come and divide themselves into various teams. We said, okay, some of you who want to focus on innovation, please do that. Some of you who are okay to help us with saving costs, please do that. Some of you who want to improve the revenue, please form into different groups. We will ensure that we have a leader behind you. One of the HODs from each department will be behind you. And they ran on their own. They collected various information from various people internally. They went online, read, they connected with folks from various other real estate companies as well. They came up with the best practices. All our senior people came every week, heard them, and eventually many of their thoughts are being implemented as we speak. For instance, smart homes, for instance, we heard that now customers want a specific place dedicated to them to do work from home, for instance. And all of these thoughts came from employees, and all of those we went back to the drawing boards, ensured that the design changes are made. Let me tell you, it's not so easy to do any design change, especially in a real estate firm, in a real estate, let's say in a flat or so on, because it has a lot of cost parameters involved. So we quickly went to the drawing board, ensured that all these changes were done. And in the last 3 months, we were, in the first 3 months post-lockdown, we probably had Zilch bookings close to almost nil. But then in the next 1.5 months or so, we did close to 300 bookings, which in itself was a huge milestone for us. And many of the customers didn't even visit our sites, and they booked it online. They trusted the brand, they trusted the people they were talking to, even online. We showed them videos of how our construction is happening without any hindrance, how people are working from home, how technology is being used and leveraged. And customers also understood about it, and people went ahead and booked many of our flats. We are almost close to 80% of our pre-COVID levels in terms of booking right now on an actual run rate. So things have fallen into place. Now let me come to the HR front. That was all about business. So let me come to the HR front. Apart from taking care of the basic well-being, safety of people, a lot of people had stress-related aspects. For instance, let's say somebody from a construction site would go on a particular day, and let's say when they come home or come back, they have contracted COVID, and let's say some of their family members have contracted because of them. So there would be a lot of moral, or let's say emotional baggage to it, right? So why should I even go to the work? Why should why should this happen to me, and so on? Or people would not step out of home. Firstly, we had to tell them that it's okay. We will take care of your family. Apart from that, even if you don't want to come to work, it is fine. We will take care of that. But having said that, a lot of team members, because they have connected with our brand and they actually want to see the success of the company, they came on their own and started working in our construction sites, or now they have even started with requisite safety protocol. Some of our sales team members have also started going to the site. So we had a lot of helplines to manage stress, a lot of helplines to manage medical issues, if any. And a lot of times people do not even want to communicate to anyone from HR. They want a third party to talk to. So we organized counselors on that front so that people can talk to a third party. Apart from that, taking care of very small aspects. For instance, if you're doing work from home, a lot of people might feel left out because they do not know how to talk on web tools like Zoom and so on. People want the touch and feel, and people might feel that, hey, my career is going for a toss because I'm not able to speak to a lot of other people. The senior people and the senior folks don't know what I'm doing, because at the end of the day, it's all about visibility. It's all about networking. That has taken a backseat. In fact, so much more that now people are calling and saying that I want to come back to work. I'm probably even there's a particular set of employees who are saying I'm bored of sitting at home for 6-7 months, and I do not have any comorbidities, and I do not have old people at home, and I want to start work. So even we have to counsel on that aspect as well, stating that it's okay, you guys can still work from home even now. So it's more than just being an admin function, HR. So we've everybody is going the extra mile, so much so that I feel HR team itself needs a lot of support during this time, because the HR teams, I'm sure across various organizations, are working overtime to ensure that things are going smooth. Now, coming to your next part of the question, Anupama, recently I saw a Harvard Business Review publication about what some of the future designations in 2030 would look like. They were talking about things like human-machine teaming manager, because AI and chatbots are in now, and a lot of organizations, including us, have started using it. Things like work from home facilitator, probably, because even a traditional firm like real estate where I am in, we are thinking that probably 10 to 20% of our workforce will perpetually work from home. I'm sure in a lot of tech firms, they're thinking that 40 to 50% of people will perpetually work from home. So how do we take care of that? Some of us spoke earlier about the performance management. How do we maintain the connect? People might not even feel connected to the organization. People might feel that what will happen to my career? The seniors wouldn't know what I'm doing. For a much more connected senior person, it's easier to be connected on the phone, on the web, and so on. But let's say an individual contributor who has just started off work as a fresher, they learn so much through peer interactions. They learn so much by looking at others. They learn so much by looking at senior people. They would miss all those interactions, right? All those conversations that we would have over a cup of coffee, all of those are missing right now. So how you can facilitate all of that staying from home, that would be probably a new designation of a HR manager called a work from home facilitator. Director of well-being, because that could be a new designation as well. So because well-being, safety, all of that will really come to the fore right now. I'm sure our thought process itself has changed about, I'm sure even after this pandemic goes away, we will be thinking about a lot more about cleanliness, a lot more about safe distancing, a lot more about wearing masks even when there is no pandemic. So, and all of these are here to stay. So I would say that for now, coming to your third part of the question, for all the HR folks out there, firstly, I'm very happy to see the HR club organizing this, and so many enthusiasts. I can see close to 240 participants on Zoom. That itself shows vibrancy of I am Vizag. So I would say that in future, all these new things that I was talking about, probably HR tech will be a new area that will be emerging. HR analytics we have been speaking about for long, but now it's moving over from Excel, but probably using tools like Tableau, using tools like Power BI and so on, so that it's a lot about HR data mining using multiple data points so that you can give a proper picture to the senior management. Forecasting in advance, all of those skills will be coming to the fore. And last but not the least, the human connect itself, because that's a skill that you have to imbibe. Empathy is something which does not come naturally to a lot of people. There are people who can empathize easily. For instance, even when I joined HR, initially probably I am an engineer, and empathy and emotions and all of that didn't come naturally to me. It's probably only from the last 4-5 years that I've built that emotional muscle of mine, and I'm still working on it. So I think each of us has to work there. And if you focus on these aspects, I'm sure things will work out to be great. In fact, when I was doing my MBA, I read this book called HR from the Heart. It was written, some of you could note it down. It was written by someone who was the HR head of Southwest Airlines, and Southwest Airlines had built a great culture during the times of its birth, and it's a testament to their culture even now. And she was also the ex-director of Yahoo, Libby Sartain. So I think you guys should read that book, probably build that emotional muscle of yours. I hope I was able to answer your question in brief.
Yes.
Thank you.
I think you have touched upon on a variety of things, and maybe our young audience would would like to work on it to, if they are really enthusiastic about this, taking up HR as a as a career. I will move to Captain Pranav now. And I guess this is going to be very important question for each one of us. So, there is no denying that people are going through stress. And as, other panel members and including, Mr. Sudipto mentioned that the jargons, the VUCA word and, a couple of more jargons that we were just kept on, listening are actually coming to life now. Burnout, that considered as the academic word, actually people are realizing that it is happening for real. So given your background in army forces, and I guess you must have been in most stressful situations than any one of us, what would you suggest that how HR managers can enable their employees to build resilience or to cope up, or some mechanism to cope up with the stress that we are living? And I guess it is going to be continued for some time. Of course, well-being managers and these designations are of course going to come, but it may take some time, and we are not sure that how soon it is going to happen, that there is going to be one particular department which is taking care of the stress and which is taking care of the the well-being. Now HR is filled with so many responsibilities, and this this particular thing, building resilience and building coping mechanism for stress, is one added task, which I guess is not that prominent in the normal days, but now it has become so prominent. What HR managers should do in this regard, or our audience, the young audience, how they can because I guess this is going to be a little time consuming process. It will not happen in one day, it will not happen in 2 days. How we can engage ourselves to be self-sufficient in this regard? Yeah, over to you.
Thank you, Anupma. And maybe how much time do I have? Because I think we have already extended the time.
Yeah, so up to you. We will right after that we will take up the questions from our students.
Okay, so first, yeah, thank you. It is an honor to hear all the different perspectives, and Sudipto, it is almost a delight to see you again here. So a very tough question for me. Dot from thank you. So I'll connect some dots from the army, but of course, I'll say this is a situation in front of all of us, and when I see everyone, the way this has come, and people are trying to struggle and bring a point and try to maneuver in this entire scenario, it touches my heart somewhere. So see, two words I'll tackle it differently. One is stress, and second is resilience. Stress is again, very loosely used word. When I say currently what we are going through, if I have to put it, in a better terms, it is emotional influx. Yeah, or rather, in a better way, it is a cognitive dissonance, right? We all are HR guys. We understand these words. The thing is, and this is not how the human animal works. Human animal works, we are very used to a community, right? Today we cut the thing of community. We cut that thread of being connected, right? A situation happened as lockdown, unlockdown, and currently the way we are moving forward, right? I'll touch these points. First is, all of us, few words again I'll use. We learned in a better way something called patience. We all will agree to it, right? Work from home is no more, a coveted term. Rather, we all want to come to office. Rather, I'm going to office. We all are HR heads. So almost to create that example, all take the things, from bull from the horns. Almost we are present in the office because that's how our job goes, right? And somewhere we are also learning something called tolerance, right? With this entire thing, my heart goes out to all of you, and all of us rather. We are facing again something which is called digital fatigue. It is really taking a toll now, and it is really heavy, right? If all these things together you want to quantitate as stress, I will not mind it, but we have to understand these things are different, and these things has to be tackled differently. Today, we all are fighting, or there is something against you, which is a disease, right? And the cure is, though it is a lot of things are being spoken, vaccine is coming and all that thing, but still it is to come. As I mentioned in the beginning, I myself had the disease one month back, went through this entire scenario, and actually the disease hugged and kissed me, because my situation was really bad. Things went down to the lungs, and to be honest, medical science still, it is understanding it, trying to find the cure. You have a set of parameters how they will tackle you, but if things goes wrong, as you have might seen in various cases, there are various examples in front of us, with good people, with healthy people, they struggle, and that's how it is. Today, to be honest, there is no solution, and that's what it is. Now, in this scenario, one thing comes very simply to you is called fear. And the thing to tackle fear, if that is causing all the stress and frustration, is the control is in your hand. You have to cut all the negativity from this entire thing. It is a very academic and very, not a practical thing, but that's how you have to do. If you are very keen to the social media, to the TV, first is try to internalize, see that how, if this happens, and this, to be honest, it is there was time that it was happening. We had that Arogya Setu app you can track. It was happening in a different city, in a different state, or it is happening today everywhere, right? We closed when we were about 800, 900 in here in Chennai, and today every day it moves to more than 5. There was a time we were moving more than 5,000. Today more than 1,000. So is it that which you want to tackle, or you want to tackle yourself? The thing is self. When you tackle yourself, and there will be a situation when it will come to you. As I was telling, 10, 12 days of medication, and the thing of quarantine, when you are again put in complete isolation. Now, these things I can connect the dots with army, where a strong mind comes into picture, and making a strong mind comes to you. It is all English, gentlemen. I know that, it is a Saturday. It would be coming heavy, after 1 hour if I'm talking all these things. But this is the truth. If there is no solution otherwise. So as I was telling, there was something, a situation of lockdown. The companies and people were trying to handle it. Ramayana, Mahabharata was given and all that thing, but that fearful mind, that fearful heart doesn't get quenched with that, right? Then you have on lockdown, and everyone is jumping. You go, the malls got open, today even the theaters are open. Everyone jumping, try to start the right life the way it used to be. But the disease is not over, and still you catch the infection, you come back, and again the same process happens. There will be situation post the vaccine when it comes also, right? In this entire phase, digitization used to stay, right? Because we have to carry on with the social distance and everything. Now you have to understand that it will be an enabler. It will be an option. It will be an option to tomorrow. Yeah. But as I tell you, and that is few of you, all of us were mentioning, being human resources is what we are. And it will happen, and it will continue to happen till people are born and people do the job, and this function will exist. There is no doubts, and people will have emotions, and we will be found there. So what I'm telling you, that this digitization so-called thing, and different forms of engagement and the forms and fashions which have come into picture, it is going to stay, but it will be one more added option. Right, currently next year or next to next year again, if you do this, HRidaya 6.0, 7.0, 8.0, there's an option that do you want to do it digitally, or you want to call some people there, or few of us will be sitting there and few of us will be joining, like the way we are joining today. So this entire thing, stress, I'll tell you, no, please take it out. Army, the way of training was, it is mental. First, you have to be stronger here, and then you can tackle it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll not paint a rosy picture, because I was going to office 100 days, and one fine day, because my son and my wife made a map over my head, so I thought that let's go for a haircut, and from where maybe I got the disease. But this is how it. So tomorrow, day after, maybe it will come to the community, right? And we have to fight it. That's what it is. But it is fought here. Your physical fitness and all will there's no answer for that, right? Suddenly the oxygen goes down, and suddenly it is. That's why in the beginning I told you it's a funny disease. You have no control. We cannot do photosynthesis and increase our oxygen level. So not talking the disease per se, and because I'm not a doctor, but this is how you can overcome the stress which is running around. So that's the point of resilience. Again, a very tough question, how resilience is made, how bouncing back you have to do. Again, I'll just permit few words from stress. Again, you cannot fight it. It is in army, there used to be a defined enemy. There's a militant, or there is a adversary in the same thing, and you have to fight it. It is so small, you cannot even see it, so you cannot fight it. Even the medicines which you say, you don't know that it is working inside, not working inside. But as I told you, this is something which will make make you win. You have to get ready in terms of this disease, in the case if you catch, or the quarantine which is happening today. All of you, 250 of you, with due respect and honor, the VUCA world, and this part, the gray hair, whatever tells you. But you're so what to say? There's a lot of options available, right? There's a lot of digitization in your life, and maybe today, if you are in the room, and how much you will do all those things. If you have to cut that thing, you are left so alone. You're left with you, and are we so used to doing that? Because you with yourself, and how much strength and how much courage you can put inside you. Because as I told you, there is no solution currently. Still we are figuring out the medicine, the vaccine, everything. There's no solution yet. If I have to scare you further, honestly, doctors are clueless with a few sets of medicine. What they give you after that, they're clueless, right? So with my personal experience, I can tell you. But what we can do, how we can fight it, how we can bounce back, is the first thing I tell you. You have to keep out the negativity. That is difficult. It is all around us. That is very difficult. Be realistic, that's what it is. And in this scenario, what we can do, we can connect with each other. Today what we are doing it, these people coming from corporate, why we do this, why we will come on a Saturday for what, thing, and we will come and address you, right? It is a choice, and the choice can be also, rejected, as simple as that. But, we care, because if we go back, let's say 20 years back, and had someone not taught this, or in case even if we never had, there is something over the Maslow's, the upper part is called transcendence, making someone better than you. And somewhere I was seeing that. So that is what we bring, together, all seven of us, and say that tomorrow things are fine. We gave you examples from the corporate, that how we are tackling it. We are telling you that things will be normal tomorrow or day after, whenever it comes, but you will have to handle yourself. Your bounce back mechanism has to be there. You can make a victim out of yourself and say that, oh my God, my college life, my MBA, year one is completely wasted, or whatever it is. But is there any solution towards it? Today your director came and he was addressing, and today Anupama is there with more than 1 hour, trying to why we are doing this, right? To address that small, dissonance which is happening in you, that small emotional influx, emotional turmoil, and it is not that it is not happening between us, it is happening with all of us, right? But with little bit, let's say 10 years elder than you, or whatever it is, we have gone through it. I'm telling you, it is the way of life. To end it, if you remember in 2000, right, when Y2K was coming, right, and they were telling the entire digital world will come to an end, right, and everyone was, because then this IT teaching academia was too much of, and it was happening so much, and everyone was telling, oh my God, what will happen to this industry? And then I'm an avid reader of Times of India, and they have, they used to have before, nowadays they don't use it. The first page, they used to have a thought for the day sort of a thing, and they wrote there that this too shall pass. That was 1st of January, 2000, right? So I'm telling you, this too shall pass, but how we dealt with it, right? How we took care of the people to the left of us and right of us, and this entire ecosystem what we are building, this will remain with you. Yeah, and let's be together, right? In case of anything, we all are there. Of course, we will not mind supporting, helping you in any scenario, but let's at least talk, and in the scenario, if someone is not feeling well, let's say that, let's give that reassurance. This is what human, the one human does to another, and this is how ages through ages, we are making a better humanity, and where we have reached today. So if I have to summarize these 2 words, that's what it is. I know I've spoken a lot, but I should end with positivity, which should stay with you for some time. So that's all. Thanks a lot, and maybe over to you, Adu.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Now, since we are running out of time, I will leave it to our young audience. So I see there are some 200 odd participants. So you may actually raise your hands. This is announcement for the students, for the participants from IMB and other institute who have joined us for today's panel discussion. You can raise your hand, and accordingly, I will see it on my screen, and I can pick, on the random basis. And the team will unmute you while you are speaking. Yeah, so I see Mihir. Yeah, Mihir, go ahead. You have raised your hand. Yeah, Mihir, go ahead. Unmute yourself and ask the question. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Mihir, you are audible.
Okay. Yeah, so my question is that this pandemic currently has seen a change in the customer behavior as well. And even I remember Yashwant was talking about it, that we have to include all the stakeholders. So my question is more on the internal stakeholder, that is the employees. So how are their behaviors and expectations changing in this scenario, and what as HR individuals we are doing internally, apart from just communication? Is there any other emotional support that has been done by your companies? If there could be an insight on that, we could be able to get some.
Yeah. So any of the panel members would like to? Yes, yes, Mr. Yashwant, go ahead, please. Yeah.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for the question, Mihir. Well, as far as our company is concerned, as you talked about that, what kind of initiative in the company took as far as employees, expectations were concerned. So, keeping in view of the pandemic situation, we did, 2-3 major initiatives for the employees. Number one was obviously, taking care of their entire, safety and security at large. As a part of that initiative, we initiated a program called the Splash, wherein we formed a team of 40 odd HR professionals who actually not just got into contact with the concerned employees, but they also talked about the wellness of their dependents. So, for example, an employee is there, and then you have their parents who are staying with them at home, and then about their children who are with them, right? So not just about the employee per se, we went one step ahead, and we also ensured that the family or the employee has, that is also taken care of. To that extent, we mapped the entire thing. We concluded the exercise, and wherever possible, wherever there was an assistance which was required at the employee's family's end, to that extent, we kind of supported them, and we provided all the support for the medical coverage, for ensuring that they are getting the right medical assistance in terms of a team of doctors which we have. We formulated a corporate level COVID task force, and also the work center level, which is our plant level COVID task forces. So for any issue of an employee, whether it is the employee himself or herself, or even the dependent family members. So to that extent, that entire support was being provided by the COVID task forces, which we had at the plant level or at the corporate level. So that was number one. And secondly, we also did an initiative, wherein our contract labor. So we as a company have close to 5,000 people. Now, when I talk about all this, great HR initiative, if you are actually going into deep of it, it is actually pertaining to the organized sector part of it, the formal economy, which is not even 7% of the economy, right? Now we moved our step to one level below, or one level above that, and we actually, take care of, our contract labor, which is obviously, a very much important part of our workforce. So we have close to 18,000 of contract labor, and over there, obviously because of the pandemic situation, many of those laborers, and the workers, they could not attend the duty. So as a part of our corporate initiative, we took care of them, and we ensured that for the period for which they could not attend the duty, we actually made them deemed to be on duty, and we went to the board of the company, and we ensured that their entire salary and wages are not affected at all. So we gave all the full support to them without worrying about their wage loss, which has been a very serious issue when we talk about the global level, because more than 400 million people in the global context has either lost a job or actually has seen a severe wage loss. And thirdly, we also took care of the employee from the perspective of the leave management. So we give flexibility to the employee that whatever leave quotas they have. For example, the employee is having a casual leave, they are having the earned leave, they are having the half-pay leave, right? So apart from these leaves, we also created a special casual leave for the COVID kind of infection. So if somebody is affected, so say some employee is affected with COVID infection, we created a special leave for them so that they don't have to disturb their leave quota, right? So they can utilize those, their own respective quotas for their own other activities. But as far as this pandemic is concerned, So we initiated and we framed the people-centric policy of giving them the leave from the COVID account. So these are some of the initiatives which we took. And obviously from the perspective of our business continuity, even though it was not possible for us to operate on a full-scale basis, so we adopted a work-from-home arrangement depending on our business requirement. So wherever our plants were there, we provide them the full support over there so that our essential services are not impacted. But at the same time, we gave the flexibility to the employee to operate from the work-from-home setting. So that's what I would like to highlight. Thank you.
I see Siddharth has some question. Yeah, Siddharth, you can unmute yourself.
Am I audible?
And yeah, yes, you are.
So my question is for Captain Pranav. So from an HR perspective, I would like to know the reason behind such low attrition rate in the armed forces. And can we apply the same concept in the corporate world to achieve that low rate of attrition?
Beautiful observation. It is quite difficult to answer. Okay. See, the thing is, first is the organizations are different. As I was talking in the beginning, the things are connected with the purpose, right? The uniform which you wear and though we are in movies and all what you see and like Uri came and all, we don't operate like that. To be honest, it is not so spoken. It is just felt. Right, and whatever operations you go for it, you feel for the country. It is nothing that and you have to declare it, and it's all there. Everyone feels the same thing. So when I say that purpose and that discipline, right, and the training of everyone is too heavy, right? But here in corporate, when I say having spent almost the things both places, everyone's upbringing, everyone's learnings are different, right? And they come with a different level of discipline, they come with a different level of preparedness, all those things, right? So that will differ. That differs every time, right? Connect to the purpose is seldom, right? Because that comes to a very if you allow me, and if I dare to use that thing, that VUCA thing which is used. It is very evident. We all hear people change 14, 15 companies, in the lifetime. And the thing is only till the time the company is doing good. After the company is not doing good and the career is not well taken for you, you just change a different company. There's no sentiments, there's no purpose, there's nothing which you want to talk further. Even those managers, and I've seen them and all my HR folks, I request if someone can also pitch in here. It is all like, friends with benefits, right? Let's make a career for ourselves and just keep on moving forward. Now, in this scenario, even if HR invests, and in the morning, I think panel was talking much on my entire mechanism to move you to a level, right? It goes to talk. So how can I in this fluidity make a strong decisions on or impacts on your career? It is only those 3-4 years when we are together, and the lifetime of an employee, if it is there like this. If you compare to Japanese, however, because Renault Nissan is an alliance and we see European and Japanese, however, if you go there people join a company and maybe they retire from a company. It is a very old-fashioned thing here. So, and plus the same thing goes for army, right? So which is, you want changes in 3-4 years, it cannot happen. Also, after as you come to the organizations, no one will day one, even if your MD's son, will allow you to be at the strategic position and start taking the decision from day one. It takes time, right? And it takes time, and that bores you, that you are not very, very happy with. So if these things are inculcated inside the people, they understand it. Right. One is, as I told you, the discipline, the learnings all together. Right. The VUCA thing, and I was telling you, getting bored, within thing, and a career, which you say, today, if I tell you, you will find managers, though very less, who are your mentors, who really walk that extra mile to train you. Because once you guys come from the corporate, of course, you are not ready to be executing from day one, right? You require a lot of polishing. because the things there and the things here are completely different. Whereas the question number one was, what are the execution points, right? So whatever you learned there in all the bookish thing will not, you have to be quite innovative. What you have to be quite realistic, right? So all those things has to be changed. Now, if that happens and you have the mentor, right, it cannot be stopped in four years or something. It takes time, right? But would you allow that thing to happen? You say no, means this is nothing. And even if he has a plan for you, you are so impatient, the intolerance is so much, you don't want to wait. So then carry on with your life, and then we stumble somewhere. And all of us, I saw today, the panel members, age is almost like 40ish, right? And a few of us, though we are senior. So why I'm telling you this is, in the midlife crisis, when it happens, it will struck to all of you so hard, you'll not know the plan, because all of us get struck there. It is only how clear you are, how purpose connected you are, how disciplined you are, how thoughtful you are, will connect these dots, right? So attrition level, it is only coming with that connect with the purpose, how disciplined we are, and can we wait? Do we have some patience? If not, to be honest, there are, if you are capable, you can find n number of organizations, and if the organization is capable, we find a lot of lines. So there is no love lost. You can carry on. We can get enough people, but how you make your career, it is dependent completely, and it is completely in your hands, right? So rather, we choose our career, we choose our future, and if we cannot understand these things of patience, discipline, connecting with the purpose, life is all yours. I think I answered you. Anyone else want to question?
So now I guess Simran wants to. Sorry. Yeah.
I just wanted to put
sure.
two words on that. I think if you categorize it, I think there are two important pointers. I think the first one, very nicely, Captain Prashan talked about that connection with the purpose. I think the moment in defense somebody is going, the way they are inducted, the way they are actually welcomed, and their whole training happens, that they are ready to fight it out on the field. They are not bothered about their lives. I think that's the kind of, not just induction, but the whole training is happening, and both internally and externally. So that's why they're connected to the purpose. So the question is, in our organizations, are we really doing the same thing even to welcome a person? Is the question. So do they feel a part of that organizations in the manner that they can give their lives? If that happens, attrition will come down significantly. That's number one. Number two, I think, which is a little controversial, but I would also say that it also depends upon expectation versus reality. Right. So in an organization, if I'm saying that I am as an organization, is I'm okay to tolerate a little bit of non-performance, but I'm okay with the right values and attitude, then I will take people and will help them to grow, and they will feel that, okay, they have, the organization that they are getting a job, they will be really thankful for lives and with families also. Are you able to do that? If you are able to do that, then not only that employee, but also the families will, say that, okay, don't leave this organization. But if you are always saying that, no, I am looking for someone who would always give better than what they can do, and I'm going to throw them out if they are not, obviously the same expectation that employees will also have, that the moment I get something better, then I will go. So it's also about choices.
Yeah. So maybe since, we can, I guess, take one more question, because schedule permit us to, take maybe one or maximum two questions now. And then maybe the students who want to stay back can stay, and panelist members who are, who don't have their other engagements, they will be here to answer your questions. So I will take one more question.
Hello.
Simran, you want to ask? Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, this is good afternoon to all. This is Adhikari V.V. Subbarao, PhD student from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. So my question is, I want to know what are the efficient and effective measures that a business organization could take to increase the productivity of employees, because when now they are working from home, maximum employees, particularly in IT service industries. So before we are moving to the post-pandemic time, so during these unprecedented times, what could be the different ways and means that a business organization can adapt to increase the productivity and to get the work done efficient? This is my question. Thank you.
Yeah, I can take that answer. Hello, are you guys able to hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I partially tried to probably I brought this up in the earlier conversation as well. So other traditional organizations, we fall in the traditional sector of real estate. For us, probably it is much more difficult to adapt to work from home than probably a tech-enabled or a IT sector and so on. So let me tell you how it worked out for us. And also with practical examples. So for sales, I actually covered it because we quickly went on. We said that we will introduce new technologies like virtual reality, artificial reality, and so on, and where the customer can actually come through and have a walk-in of their home, and also things like how your view will be from the 50th floor, let's say. And that actually brought in the expectation of customer, and they actually went ahead and booked in the floor or the flat for themselves. Similarly, for let's say teams like marketing, where we quickly said that we in fact provided them with enough learning tools. Some of them who were traditional marketeers, we also have a couple of digital marketeers. For others who were not adept in digital marketing, we for a month or so they actually went up and took up a course. Because they're relatively young, they were very agile, and some of them took up these courses, started, because we also said that let's do some cost cutting and probably not go to an agency to get some of the digital work done. So the employees themselves started going on to Google, creating certain artworks, creating ads, and so on. And we had a lot of uptake on digital. So that's how, let's say, the marketing team's digital activity and all went up. Similarly, in construction, we said that in future, probably will have less labor available. In fact, at a short term, we had almost 50% of our labor workforce moving out. So we said that how the construction team can come up quickly with construction technology adaptation. Even that worked out well for us. And we said that let's use more new age technologies in construction to ensure that the construction speed does not come down. Similarly, a lot of things in design and so on. So here I would say the bottom line for all of this, quick adaptation we did, quickly ensuring that people understand new age technologies, quickly ensuring that whatever the learning tools are available for them are available clearly, ensure that enough mentors are provided to them, most of them internal, but wherever we couldn't find, probably we also took some external help so that people are quickly on board. Even we went so much so that we provided them enough tools to them at their home. For instance, for our design team, we use such high-end equipment and probably even their home laptops or even their work laptops can't be enabled with that. So we ensured that that equipment reaches their home. We went to that extent. And with all of this, and eventually ensuring that we have a constant, clear communication, our productivity got affected. In fact, it became so much so that now some of the teams and some of the HODs are saying, many of our team members, we want them to perpetually work from home because now their productivity has increased. And we've come to that stage now. So we are all the more happy. So having said that, even in a traditional sector, if it's possible, I'm sure in a traditional, when I mean sector where technology is less adapted, and I'm sure a lot of other companies are doing much more better in terms of efficiently managing their workforce. Over to you. Anupama again.
Yeah, I
Right.
will add something here, if you allow, Anupama.
Sure, go ahead, please.
So I think this is very clear to all of us, HR fraternity. We know firsthand that it is impossible to deliver amazing employee experience in a vacuum. It demands collaborative effort across the company, and employees are equal stakeholder in it, right? The new change will bring choice with responsibility, manager approval to manager informed, the culture of unboss, curiosity, remain inspired, right? And the employee experience, traditional employee engagement tool will be reimagined to fulfill the requirement of an employee experience platform, human intelligence and a human wisdom. And most importantly, the paradox navigator role that HR need to play plays an important role. Why I'm quoting all that, and I'll give you a real example what's happening in our company. So we have office one research lab in Armenia. Those of you who are aware of the current situation between Turkey and Armenia, there is a war kind of situation. Literally, it is a war on the border. And the beautiful country, Armenia, it's a small country with only 3 million army force, cannot fight against a Turkey Armenian force, which is 10 million, right? So what's happening there? Corona was the threat. Corona was a big challenge for all of us. The challenge now is 10x fold more, that people are so scared, they are being bombarded. The life is at risk, right? And we have an office in the place called Yerevan. Yerevan is the capital city of Armenia. The employees there are so scared, productivity is going low. It did not reduce because of corona, but because of war, it is impacting. And now they're scared, they're fearful. The fear of unknown is the biggest fear, right? What will happen tomorrow? As a human being, we are so fearful about the situation, right? So what we have done in the organization, first of all, we have employed doctors also, because we work in a pharma and healthcare, as I mentioned to you. So all the doctors, all the techies, invited by the government of Armenia to if they need somebody on the border to fight against the war, they all are on the volunteer services. So what we have done, we have paid, given them the paid holidays, and their families are secured with a better insurance plan. This is an initiative. Within 10 days of time, we decided, we had no time to react. Overnight, we decided how we're going to help our employees who are in a worse situation than Corona. So we are providing them the free paid leave to do the volunteer work, upgraded their insurance, not only for them, but for their employees. Also the workload, because there is a delivery plan, work has to continue. We have the commitment, So the people from Bangalore and Vizag, we have 2 offices in India, voluntarily came forward and they told, don't worry about the work. Even without taking the initiative from the top management side, all of them within the team decided Armenia team is fully focused on taking care of themselves and their country and their loved ones. And now the work distributed among the existing team. Think about a situation where you need to manage the change. The topic today is change management. And one important aspect of this time I want to bring, that change management has changed its definition. Now change is teaching us how to manage in a better, efficient, and effective way, right? What is effective, doing the right things, and all that. But practically speaking, the common sense, the people driving with their own sense of purpose is actually making this change to be acceptable, effective, and bringing more productivity. I think this aspect I wanted to bring in, and this is actually very good experience to have, because we have not seen the change earlier. Change management has a process, 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. There are anchors. There is a lot of discussion and the process to be followed. In this time, we all are experiencing the same feeling across the globe. We all are equally stakeholder in the change management. Nobody is anchoring. We all are together, and this is what I wanted to.
So I guess we will take. Yeah.
Just to add on to, I think we had great points by the esteemed panelists. Even with respect to the question which was posed, right, the work from home arrangement. So my submission is that it is not a choice with the organization. it is something which is very, very imperative to maintain the business continuity, because if we as an organization, we as HR professionals are not going to provide this support, the infrastructure which is required by the employees to deliver the tasks or assignments which are given by the organizations, the business is not going to sustain. So as a HR professional, it is important that for every practice, we keep in mind the overall sustainability in mind, right? So, for example, for the work from home arrangement, infrastructure is one of the sustainability goals, right? Infrastructure building is one of the sustainability goals. Or whatever the decent work. Look at the current scenario wherein our labor rights index, as per the latest Oxfam report, we are 151 out of 157, right? So we as professionals, we have to work for the larger economy, which is the informal economy also, which is very, very critical, because otherwise the existence of the businesses will be at question, right? And the inequality, the graded inequality which is there across generations. So how do we ensure all these challenges through a very sustainable kind of a business model, wherein we make efforts for ensuring a sustainable future for each one of us? I think that is something what I would definitely urge upon all my youth, and future HR leaders and the next generation leaders to keep this in mind, that for any practice to be great, it has to be a sustainable one. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, actually, everyone who have joined us here. All the panel members, I think we had very meaningful and fruitful discussions. We actually touched upon on a lot of topics, varying across a lot of dimensions of what is actually happening today and what is the way ahead. So with this, I guess I will just hand over the stage to the organizing team. And thank you very much for your time and for coming here, agreeing to our invitation, and giving your time. Yeah, so over to the organizing team over here.
Thank you, ma'am.
On behalf of IIM Visakhapatnam and Team Manthan, I would like to offer the vote of thanks for today's session on the topic towards a new HR policy. And I would like to thank our director, Professor M. Chandrasekhar, for his inaugural address. I would also like to thank all our guest speakers for the day, for this engaging and insightful session today, and for being so patient with our questions as well. I would also like to thank our moderator, Professor Anupama, for guiding the discussion in such a beautiful way. And last but not the least, I would like to thank all the student community. You've been a wonderful audience, and we all hope to see you tomorrow again for the day 2 of HRidaya, and with a new topic on the theme change management. And thank you, everyone. Have a good day. With this, we can close the day 1 session for HRidaya.
Yeah, Subbu, I would like to add just one thing for all the students here. I think we have a good news for all of you who are passing out this year or the next year. There's a bright future for the folks like you who can bring in more fresh approach and intellect and humility to the organization. In my organization, we have recently hired 20 freshers. And this is not the need that we need the people, but to help the society, to help the freshers, to engage them with the meaningful work. So be flexible, whatever you get into. The economy definitely will bounce back and you will have a bright future, and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was very well organized, and I think thoroughly enjoyed being a part of it. Thank you, the organizing team of Manthan, and also IMV. And thank you to my co-panelists. I think we had a very, very enriching discussion today. Not necessarily all the panel discussions are always very exciting, but today it was. And thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Then we can close the session for the day.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.